But you got it. You got it. If you're ready.
Now he's attending to Miss Gladys. You better get back to Miss Gladys because she gonna whip your ass if you don't take care of her. Councilman, I don't know what you doing on the space right now while you taking care of patients, but you better chill because I heard Miss Gladys in the background just now. She was calling for your ass, but it's all good, brother. It's all good. To get back on the topic, though, again, I just don't understand what can they do now to kind of poke fear into black people. I just don't understand. They've already killed our children. They've already tried to kill our movements. They've already killed like our spokespersons. They've killed them throughout history. What more can they do now besides say that the world is going to end? Every time that we're demanding tangibles, there's always something. You demand tangibles. COVID comes up. You demand tangibles. Oh my God, we got to stop Trump. You demand tangibles. Oh, Project 2025. You demand tangibles. What about the midgets? Like, no, no. Stay focused on your policy and what you want to get across. Do not let these people tell you what needs to be done or what is the most important thing of the day. Because, like my brother Afro said, I don't remember voting for an Asian hate crime bill. I don't remember voting for that. So why is it that they can get that through Congress within a week and we're still out here years now fighting for reparations? That just doesn't add up to me. That tells me that
So
either somebody doesn't want to do that or they're just refusing to do what we're asking them, excuse me, what we're demanding them to do. Go ahead, Councilman.
so I'm gonna say this, and the reality of it is that, and I think the brother said it earlier. A lot of times we focus on getting people out to vote, but we don't focus on getting people involved after the elections. And that's the biggest drop off right there. People are excited to get people in office, but then they don't show up after the election. I've been in my seat now for 4 years. And I can't tell you how many times I try to go throughout my district to get individuals to show up to the school board, show up to the board of supervisor. Let's go to Sacramento. I'm in California. Let's go to Sacramento and make sure that that money that's coming into our communities come into our communities. A lot of times these nonprofits, right, when you ask about how do people get these grants or how do people get these laws passed, well, they have lobbying firms that are pushing this legislation, that are pushing these bills. We don't have that. We don't have lobbying firms that are out there pushing reparations. We don't have organizations that are out, putting money, getting politicians reelected. And that's just the bottom line truth. When you're not influencing elections, you can say in the battleground states, yeah, to get out to vote, but then actually holding individuals accountable afterwards, putting together think tanks, the same as Heritage Foundation. I was a member of Heritage Foundation for about 3 years. I was a registered Republican. I ran for Congress in 2022, came up short. I'm still in my elected seat, but I was a member of the Heritage Foundation. I posted pictures of the actual strategy that we were implementing in that, meeting with Trump. I met with Mark Meadows, who is the president of CPI. I met down at the Leadership Institute. And so this particular strategy, the reason why I walked away from the Republican Party is because, one, I didn't want to push this strategy to where I knew it was going to be a detriment to the community. We don't have the infrastructure ready for school choice, which is what the Republican Party wants to push. So when you talk about getting rid of the Department of Education, we don't have the infrastructure in the inner city community to be ready to actually take on that need. There's already a huge teacher shortage, so that's going to be one big issue. When you look at the courts, we just
Not sure what that was, Councilman. You can continue. Councilman,
Councilman?
y'all can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you. Councilman, unmute
oh
yourself.
my oh I'm just
I'm not sure
how
what
long was
happened.
I muted for?
Just a second. Just a second. You
Oh, okay,
said that we
okay,
don't have enough teachers, and
right,
that's why you
okay.
dropped your support of the Heritage Foundation.
Right, right. Well, I left the Republican Party because I was told that I couldn't talk about reparations and I couldn't push prison reform, which is something that's important to me as an elected official. Hold on for a second.
Okay, brother. We're gonna give you a good 5 seconds, and then we're gonna get to the next speaker because this has to be a flowing conversation.
I think it's very interesting that the brother was saying that he was with the Republican. Oh, go ahead, brother.
Oh no, what were you going to say? Because I can probably respond to what you're going to say.
No, it's so interesting that you were going to say that you were with the Republican Party and they kicked you out because you were mentioning you couldn't speak about reparations and or prison reform, and that's very interesting because again, you got people running around saying that we'll have a better chance at getting reparations from the Republicans than we would from the Democrats, and see the reality shows from your experience that that's just not the case. And now, neither party wants to give us reparations. It's just what party can be forced to give us. We can't necessarily, in my opinion, we cannot force the Republicans to do it because we're not their base, we're not their voter base. Now, the Democrats, on the other hand, and this is why I'm a strong advocate for, you know, the living room party because the candidate Couch, um, he or she is a very viable, it's a very valuable candidate for me, because I don't have to do shit. Now, I urge everyone to register to vote, absolutely. Be active in your communities, absolutely. But you don't need to come out and show your support for something that does not support you. Now, I'm big on that. I'm sorry, I'm not out here telling people what, you know, that it's unproductive to say somebody shouldn't vote. No, if you're not getting anything for your vote, then what are you voting for?
Exactly,
My brother
exactly.
said,
You're
my
correct.
brother,
You're correct. We're gonna let him
my
finish.
brother.
He's at work right now, so we're gonna let
Oh,
him
go ahead,
finish
brother.
before he
Yeah,
has to
yeah,
go.
no, yeah. So that's you kind of hit the nail on the head, right? So having this conversation of trying to get individuals to move over to the Republican Party, you're talking about a reset that would take us. I mean, you know, to think of the number of years that it would be before we actually become the base, where at least right now, and it was one of the reasons why I did leave the Democrat or the Republican Party, because I knew that there was great opposition. So one, I just want to correct you on something. I wasn't kicked out the Republican Party. I just wasn't going to be a puppet. I met with Herschel Walker. I was flown out to Atlanta during the Warnock Walker race, and I was paid to go out there to help Herschel Walker win that race until I met Herschel Walker. And when I met him and we sat down and we talked, I walked away feeling like, one, I was not going to become the Herschel Walker of the West Coast. Two, I realized that this man had no clue on what he was doing. And so realized, and I understood that was going to be an even bigger detriment to just have somebody in the Senate pushing legislation that wasn't going to be, I mean, be truthful, no politician really draft their own legislation. Even myself, I have ideas, stuff that I want to get done in my community, but I have a legislative director that makes sure that the policies that I want to change or the money that I want to bring in, that, I can get it done. So they are drafted up for me, but I'm pretty much, direct them in the direction that they go. So most politicians have me in Senate and Congress. They have a paid staff that put all that together, CPI, Conservative Partnership Institute, Heritage Foundation, the Leadership Institute, and there's a host of others that, once they get their candidates in, because when I ran for Congress, once I won my primary, I was flown out to D.C. to meet with Mark Meadows, who was, Trump's White House chief of staff, who's over CPI, and they was letting me know, don't worry about your staff. We'll take care of it. We'll get your chief of staff when you get in there. We'll, have your policy directors. We'll have your field directors together, and so because it can be an overwhelming thing when you run in of that magnitude. But I walked away because I was asked to be the chairman of the party of Riverside County, which is the fourth largest county in California. I walked away from it because, one, I'm an ex-felon who spent 10 years in prison, and the last thing I wanted to do was be one of those brothers that can't speak up for where I've been. And I go into the prisons every Friday to speak to lifers, and I'm really big on, second chance advocacy. We just got ACA 8, and that's another thing too. When you look at the policies here in California, every Republican voted overwhelmingly to block the reparations policies that was getting put together. Every Republican voted against ACA 8, which was to remove voluntary servitude off of the California Constitution. So the fact that they told around that there's a party of Abraham Lincoln, a party abolish slavery, here it is in 2024. They didn't want to remove that from their, from the California Constitution. But I think that it sounds like fear mongering or fear tactics because we don't stay engaged. And now throughout the election time, where we're sitting in July, right? The elections is just a couple of months around the corner, and now you're getting everything through a fire hose. You're getting updated on all of what's been transpiring, and it just sounds like fear monger because now people are engaged. You have a brief moment with attention span. You have a brief moment to give people just something to look at. Like, when Taraji P. Henson got up and said, hey, Project 2025, look it up. Then it got people Googling it because people have been talking about it, but you just hadn't heard it on a stage to where it got people looking it up and looking into it. And the last thing I want to say, as far as looking at the difference, I don't know, when I look at personally, when you say Biden's 4 years in office, I can think of at least, 3 significant legislations that have impacted my community significantly. One was the American Rescue Plan. We just broke ground on a water treatment plant. And I actually tweeted out and said that, our city would not become another Flint or Jackson, Mississippi, because we have people that's on a local level making sure when those federal dollars come in, that is being allocated and is being moved around to the right places. When you're redoing piping underneath the ground, those are unattractive fixes. People don't see it, but then, people are going to appreciate it for the years to come. The PAC Act, my father is military, so that affects him significantly. And then also the CHIP Act, which, when you think about our technology and where we're going in technology. So to suggest that, I think to suggest that these last 4 years, and also too, you got to take into consideration that the House has been controlled by the Republicans since 2022. And so there's going to be that, back and forth between the House and the Senate to where we haven't been able to really get much done. And I think that, people don't take that into consideration. We say, well, why aren't we getting the rest of all of the things that Biden said he was going to do? Now, mind you, when he was in the office, I was a Republican. So I wasn't a supporter of Biden. I didn't vote for Biden. But I can say this, that, since he's been in office, the money that's been able to come into our community that I've been getting access to and meeting with our state senator and meeting with our state assemblyman and our federal congressman, meeting with our congressmen. I think that those are the things that should be talked about, how we, as a community get access to those funds, making sure our elected officials are doing right by the vote that we're giving, because we spend too much time talking about the wrong house. We're talking about the White House too much, but not talking about City Hall.
Okay,
not talking about.
brother, let me ask you some questions real quick. The first question I want to ask, or I want to make something clear. We've been aware of Project 2025 for the longest time. We've been aware when they first started spreading the words of it. We're very informed. We're not just, this isn't a flood of information. We understand this is a scare tactic. The Democratic Party is literally saying Project 2025 more than they ever have been. Literally, Joe Biden's Twitter account is tweeting Project 2025. So it's not like we're just now realizing about Project 2025. They're saying it much more than they've ever said it before. So we're responding to them trying to push Project 2025 as this fear-mongering agenda. So it's not the fact that we're uninformed with that. Now, that's just a statement on that. I am going to have to say another thing too. Yes, you do, as the president, you do have to go through the House and the Senate. We have to keep in mind, and you just admitted to it, you said that when Biden was in office, he had the House and the Senate. You said he hasn't had the House and the Senate since 2022. He's been in office since 2020. So in 2020, or since before 2020, when he was elected in 2020. And it wasn't until he lost the House and the Senate. Now people want to give him an excuse to say he doesn't have the House and the Senate. When he did have the House and the Senate, he wasn't doing anything. So we give a lot of excuses to the Democratic Party about, well, hold on, it's not the president, the House, and the Senate. But when they do have the House and the Senate, we don't see them doing anything different than what they would do if they didn't have the House and the Senate. Now, another thing you're saying, and I want to ask, this is my question to you. You're saying he's done certain things that benefit the community as far as the I guess the environment thing that you're talking about, whatnot. I'm not going to repeat everything. Do you feel like Joe Biden and his administration has done more harm to the community than good?
Well, I can't speak for every community because I don't know what people are doing with the money in those
Okay,
communities.
I'm
That's why I
specifically,
mentioned.
because you said,
So
hold on, let me just clarify, because you said he's done good to our community. Biden has done good for our community. You said it a few times, so I'm saying, were you referring to? Let me say this: were you referring to the Black community, the Black American Foundation, Black American community? That's the community you were referring to, right?
right. So
Okay,
so
hold on.
let's
Oh, let me just finish the question.
okay.
So if that,
Okay.
so the we're specifically talking about Black America. Do you feel like when it comes to Black America collectively, Joe Biden has done good, more good than harm?
So yes,
Mm,
and I say that because of the legislation that was passed since he's been in office. And when I brought up the American Rescue Plan, just go to your city hall or go to your, I don't know what state you're in, but go to your county office and ask what did they do with the American Rescue Plan money, because there was money specifically written in there for communities to get access to. A lot of elected officials didn't do right with that money, so you can't blame the president if I give you money to go, take care of a project, and you decide to go divvy it up and do something else with it somewhere else. I can't blame the person who gave it to you. I can thank them, but at the same time, I can blame you for not doing right with it. So, I can post tons and tons of things in my community that I've done with the American Rescue Plan, and I can look at other communities and see what they've done. So that would be something that you would have to find out in your city, in your state,
okay.
to find out exactly where that money
Okay. Well,
goes.
let's clear something up for the audience. The American Rescue Plan is pretty much it's like a COVID relief plan. It's like a COVID stimulus plan to help the economy. He launched that in 2021 to help the economy recover with COVID and everything. Let me say this. Was that specific for the Black community? Because you're saying they give it to communities. You're saying that plural, not specifically for us. You're saying because he did that for every single community, period, during COVID. So I'm talking about things he's done specifically to benefit us, specifically in particular. And okay, just quiet. You're not muted. The reason I'm asking this is because he's specifically trying to market ways, and he's specifically trying to incentivize Black America to vote for him, to get Black America to be enthusiastic about voting this November for him. So if he's trying to do that and we got to specifically go out and vote for him, what has he done specifically to deserve our vote? And the American Rescue Plan, which was okay, but that's not specifically for any community at all. And I don't think personally that outweighs the negative legislation he's put forth either. Do you have anything else to say? Because you're not muted. I don't know what's going on.
No, there's really not that else really, because I don't know what type of, yeah, I'm not sitting in my office, so to go down a list of different things that I can bring up. If I was in my office, it would be a different conversation because then I can actually pinpoint. Because I don't believe in just generalizing a conversation, but I can, when I know that the money that's been made available through several different legislation like this, there hasn't been a legislation to be pushed forward. But if I went down line up online, you'll find that there was money made available, even to the HBCUs, and so, um, there's to attack or to suggest that the Biden administration or for that the Trump administration would be better. I just know the reason why I left the Republican Party because I understand that there is nothing within the legislation that's going to be beneficial. And so I think Sage said it best. I rather us work with where we know we have a stronger push than to dwindle over here and become significantly already outnumbered regardless of where we're at. But at least we have individuals that are, you have Hakeem Jeffries, the minority speaker of the House. You have, a plethora of individuals that are across this country that are already in position that could be ready for that, legislation that could come.
Do you
So
think
I'm
Hakeem?
just looking at it from a
What you
perspective.
brought Hakeem Jeffries up? Is was he for us? Is that what you're implying? He's for us.
Well, I put it like this: anybody that in the Trump administration is definitely
Yes,
not.
sir.
So
Please
you would have a better.
let's not do that. Let's not do that. Because you're playing a what
Well,
that's
I'm not
dodging.
speaking.
Hold
I'm
on,
not
hold on.
speaking
Because
for him.
that's
I'm speaking
dodging
in.
what you're
I'm
doing.
speaking.
What you're doing is you're dodging the question. And this is something that a lot of Biden supporters they'll do. When I ask, okay, well, are they for us? Do they support us? The next thing you know, the Biden support. Well, damn sure not Trump. Not anybody on Trump's team. We're not talking about Trump. Anytime we have a conversation about Donald Trump, it stays on Donald Trump. When we have a conversation about Joe Biden, it always leads back to, well, what about Trump? Do you guys notice that? When we talk about how bad Trump is for the community, nobody comes up and be like, well, what about Biden? Hold on, but Biden's team. No, we can stay on Trump. But then when we talk about Biden, then all of a sudden it was, well, hold on, we got to compare it to Trump now. We can't do that.
Well, I don't know Hakeem Jeffries personally. I don't know his policies personally. I've seen him speak, in general towards issues in the black community. But as far as and that's what I was speaking to, just understanding of having the representation. At least there's individuals in position or considered to put people in place for representation. And so, when I look at that, there is a huge difference. But my thing is not to try to convince anybody to vote either way because I don't live in individuals' communities. I don't live in your area. It may be better in some states to be Republican because you have Republican ran legislation, and I think that that's the conversation that people need to start having personally, like in your home. If me voting for this person is the best interest for my community, then I know that I can get this person to listen to this
Do you
this policy that's going
do
to
you
affect me.
believe that Joe Biden is in the best interest of the black community?
I do. I mean, I,
Okay.
I mean, I do.
Okay. Do you believe that him putting forth, okay, so if you believe he's in the best interest for the black community, can you give me anything at all specifically? Because I can name you a number of things specifically. Give me anything at all specifically he has done in his entire career as a politician, not even just as president, as vice president, as a senator, anything he's done specifically to benefit the black community in America. Because I can name you things he's done to harm us specifically. I can name you things he's done to benefit other people specifically. So if he's in our best interest, you should be able to name at least one thing he's done specifically to benefit us.
So I just want to remind you, you're speaking to somebody that was impacted by that '94 crime bill. So I'm not just an individual who, forget how I ended up in behind bars. You know what I mean? So to for me to say today as someone who actually went through and was affected by the 94 crime bill, that lost 10 years of my life behind the 94 and the 96 crime bill, it should speak volumes of the fact that I'm looking at today. We can go back to, when he called us super predators or predators, or, how the way in which he, cross-examined Clarence Thomas at the time when black folks was supporting Clarence Thomas. I get it. Of course, you can go back there. I'm saying today, now, the administration that he is a part of now, I can speak to policies that have directly affected my community and the infrastructure of my community for the next 40, 50 years. And I'm not just speaking in general. Like, I can literally post, stuff that we're doing in our community that was directly tied to the Inflation Reduction Act, that's directly tied to the American Rescue Plan, that's directly tied to the PAC Act. We just built a VA hospital, a VA clinic in our community. There's a lot of things that I can speak to today. Now, we're going to go back to 1993, 94, when the crime bill was put into place and it was 100,000 police officers that was hired from it. I get it because I was affected by it. I'm not dealing with the emotions of what happened 20 years ago. Of course, I want to change that. That's why here in California, what are they doing to change the 96 crime bill? They're giving individuals expungements of their records. So there's a lot of stuff that's trying to rectify the past of years of individuals that have lost behind bars.
Okay,
So
now as we're going to get to some other speakers, and we're having a respectful dialogue. We're not insulting each other or anything. We're having a respectful dialogue. How do you feel as somebody who's been affected? You've been in prison for 10 years by the actions of Joe Biden. Joe Biden put that in place. So it was due to Joe Biden's actions. You was in prison for 10 years under his very anti-black racist crime bill, something that would never touch his son, even though his son is doing the same thing he was locking black men up for doing. Do you feel like it doesn't bother you at all that Joe Biden to this day still stands by the 94 crime bill? When he was last asked about the 94 crime bill, Joe Biden stood on it. Joe Biden doesn't regret the 94 crime bill. He was asked that a couple years ago, multiple times. And in multiple conversations, Joe Biden said he did not regret the 94 crime bill.
I mean, I'm not going to defend him the same way I'm not going to defend Trump of being standing by the five brothers that was exonerated in
This
New
is
York.
not
So,
about
I
Trump,
mean,
though. This is not about Trump. I didn't say anything about
I
Trump.
responded. I responded to your statement. I said I'm not going to sit up here and say that it didn't bother me then. Uh, the fact that he still stood by his decision in 1994. But I'm also going to stand on the fact is that the legislation that is passed in 2021, 2022 has greatly affected the community moving forward for the next 30, 40 years. So I don't, I rather start from here moving forward than start from 1994, which there's nothing that we can do to change 94. There's nothing that can do to change how much time I did. There's nothing that can do that can change, how I was locked up or the many brothers that was locked up. But what we can do is make sure that, like my son, doesn't find himself in that same situation. So,
Okay. Oh, all
um,
right, brother. We're gonna get to some of the other speakers. I do have some more questions for you, but this has been a long conversation. Respectful. We've had a respectful dialogue. I disagree how you would see that Joe Biden wouldn't do that to your son if he doesn't regret doing it to you. When they asked him about all the hundreds of thousands of black men who are harmed by his 94 crime bill, Joe Biden didn't regret that. If somebody doesn't regret an action they did, they would do it again. So if he doesn't regret doing it the first time, what would make him not do it the second time or implementing something similar to that? And the things is that you're saying he's done certain things. The things you're saying is very minuscule in comparison to the things he's done that has negatively affected the community. And we're saying this respectfully, but there's more speakers who've been patiently waiting, and I respect your respectful dialogue and answering the questions and everything. But we're going to get to some other speakers. I'm not going to kick you off. We're going to get to Andre and then Dr. Littlejohn.
Hello, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
All right. I gotta disagree with the last speaker, him saying it's gonna take decades for us to become somebody's base. It's simple. How bad do you want to stay in power? To either party, doesn't matter who it is. We've told you these are our demands. So does your hate for us override you wanting to stay in power? And that's something my dad taught me. You know, he was like, it's better to do business with people that you don't have any type of affinity for or relationships with, because you can really do business and you can get a fair deal versus, well, you know, I really like so and so, let me cut them a break. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. I definitely
Um,
agree.
yeah. And as far as the other stuff, natural functions of government aren't things for you to say he did that specifically for black people. And I get so tired of politicians at all levels saying that. Um, Me as a black man, as a foundational, if you're doing something specifically for people like me, we're all going to feel it across the board, and we don't have to go to Google to explain, oh, well, this policy is helping us with this, that, and the third. So to me, when I hear somebody do all that, look, you on the tea and croissant circuit, you want to rub noses with them pink people. We told you what we wanted, and that's the only thing to me that's going to help us. The hate crime law, and definitely cash tangibles to foundationals. That's the only thing that closes the wealth gap for us. Not no programs and any other stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You
And you're
welcome.
absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. Now we're going to get to Dr. Littlejohn.
Hey, how y'all brothers doing? Can y'all hear me?
Yes, you can be heard.
Hey, I've got some serious passion for this. It's got me heated. Um, I'm 57, grew up in LA. I spent half my life in those cages. 11 years ago, I paroled from doing 13. Um, the 1994 crime bill, it touched every single black community in America. It devastated us in numbers the Klan could only dream of. Decades later, the stats show 60% of those convictions were for non-violent drug offenses. Like you said, the same things that his son did, he got a pass for. I don't, me, I'm not given a pass for that. One thing I've learned is empires are destroyed from within, rarely from enemies afar. I got to think of my elders' words. Malcolm X, ballot or the bullet speech, where he made a statement saying that you voting for people who turn around and do things for everybody else and then don't do anything for you, that makes you a political chump and a traitor to your race. 60 years later, we can look at the ramifications. I grew up in LA. LA, where we live at, LA looks like shit. The homeless has gotten out of control, and it's primarily black folks. All their policies have done nothing but stagnate us. They push this alphabet agenda in our faces at a rate that they've never did to, to prevent or stop racism. Everybody else is put before us. A couple million people have crossed these borders. Who do you think they're going to compete against first? Um, I'm hot. I'm hot that black folks is still pushing this dude, irregardless. That's betrayal. See, one thing I've learned is that we've never chopped anybody's heads off politically, and because of that, we'll never be taken seriously. We need to down all these non-advocating advocates that have done nothing for us, man, so that those who know when they step into any of those positions, hey, they will chop your head off. If you want to make this a career, you better go holler at them. Better go talk to them. not promise them stuff and then don't fulfill those promises. I'm hot, man. I'm hot because it's like this. The people who have been in office for decades have more responsibility to the state of where we're at now than the new guy walking up. But yet they literally had the nerve to tell Negroes who walk outside of their houses in the inner cities and look at their neighborhoods and know this digression didn't happen overnight, but yet have the guy who's been there for the longest tell you, oh no, it's the new guy's fault. And fools literally went for that. Irregardless, a wise person would have said, well, you know what? I don't know whether this guy is what you say he is or isn't. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But you've been here and you have done nothing. How dare you tell me anything? How dare you tell me anything? You've done nothing. I'm hot. I'm hot hearing this. I'm hot, especially dudes calling himself a councilman. I'm hot. These people, before we can do anything, these people need to be punished, man. Betrayal is second to pedophilia, man. That's why every nation in the world what is the when you're caught treason, it can be a death sentence because they understand empires are destroyed from within. Saboteurs. Now, the last thing I'll leave with is this. You got Biden's doctor, Rachel Levine, some dude in a dress, saying that chemical and surgical castration of children will be normalized. As far as I'm concerned, coming out of those walls, kids are off limits, period. I'll stand in defense of kids with my enemy. Kids are off limits, period. I come out of those California prisons, even a skinhead. If a white dude who killed blacks walked on the yard on the general population, level 4, the skinheads is going to handle him. Even though inside they may like it, they understand kids are off limits. And they know that if we don't do something to him, the blacks is going to deal with you. And we can't allow another race to deal with our own. We're not going to go to war with you. And you fuck with kids, man. Kids are off limits, period, on mine. And the fact that these people are pushing this shit, I can't stand with that. I can't stand with it, black, period. That's all I got to say, man. You know, because I can go on. I got
I
facts and
feel your
numbers.
passion, brother. I do. And I fully agree. And I have some more things to say with the councilman, but I'm gonna let Sage speak because I guess he had some technical issue and they had to drop him down. He had to drop down. So Sage, you got anything you want to say?
Well, first of all, let me. Life happens. That's all I'm gonna say, man. It was just a situation that I just had to help a brother out in real life just now. I don't know. Hopefully, y'all didn't hear that. Let me just leave it at that. As far as here's my thing. My cousin Calvin Lee, he went to jail in the '80s. Spent 32 years in jail. I never met excuse me, no. I met my cousin in Clinton Correctional Facilities, upstate New York. He went to jail on a nonviolent drug offense. He spent 32 years in jail off of a policy that Joe Biden put into action. So my issue is when you say who's done harm, I understand the racism that Trump has said. I am no supporter of Trump. None at all. I do not support Trump at all. But what policy has this man really put forth that's hurt the black community? My brother, the councilman, said that he spent time because of that drug offense, because of that crime bill that came into law because of Biden. DJ Littlejohn said that he spent time because of the crime bill that went into play because of Biden. Brother, how is it that Joe Biden has done more to help the black community? That's a sin that you can never be forgiven for. You've taken generations. I'm not getting on you, brother. It's just a disagreement. You've taken generations away from people by creating a bill that you knew would target these people. You knew that. So Joe Biden is who he always was. And I'm glad that he looks like he has Alzheimer's. I'm glad. I hope it gets worse. Because again, his children have been able to skate past a lot of laws that they have broken, and our children have not. So I'm going to need him to feel exactly what he's dished out to my community throughout all of his 60 or whatever years that he's been in Congress. Joe Biden has done outrageous things that honestly I feel like just cannot be forgiven. Now, I understand if you forgive him, brother, I get you on that one. But I can't side on that. I'm sorry. I understand what Trump said about the Central Park Five. I live in New York. I understand what he said about that. But saying something and actually putting a legislation together is two totally different things. I broke this down yesterday about how I don't care who likes me or not. I'm not here to be liked. I don't really care. If they write reparations but they don't like us, it does not matter. Fuck about who's being liked. This ain't a beauty pageant. I don't care. But who's going to harm us? That's the only thing that I would take into consideration. And with that, I'm going to land.
Now, before we go back to the councilman, I just want to clear things up real quick. The reason why I said that Biden still stands on the 94 crime bill, he does not regret the 94 crime bill, is because when we were discussing the 94 crime bill, Councilman, you admitted that you were affected. You were in prison for a decade based off the actions of Joe Biden, but you tried to dismiss it as if that was a thing of the past and you don't want to get emotional about something that happened in the past. So I had to reiterate the fact that, hey, this is the same Joe Biden. Joe Biden back in the 90s is no different from Joe Biden of today, because Joe Biden of today still stands on the 94 crime bill. Joe Biden today does not regret the 94 crime bill. So you can't speak on his behalf and say it was a mistake or say that's the past. Only he can do that. And if he says he doesn't regret what he did in the 90s, you're going to have to take him for his word and say he doesn't regret what he did. Joe Biden, out of his own mouth, says he doesn't regret it. So nobody else can try to reword it or fix it up or try to dismiss it saying that he does, because he said he didn't. Now, a lot of people have addressed what you had to say, so I'm going to let you get a chance to speak, Councilman.
Yeah, no, and I don't need to defend my statement. One, I didn't dismiss it or say that, I forgave or anything like that. My whole statement is that when I look at the administration and the policies now, so one, let's go with facts. Biden is not the author of the 94 crime bill. I don't know why people keep saying that. It was authored by Brooks out of Texas. So that's number one. So to continue to keep putting it as though he authored it, he was like many other people in Senate and Congress who voted, but he was not an author of the 94 crime bill.
Brother, hold on, brother. Biden bragged about the bill. He said it was damn near Biden's law.
Okay, but
He said he likes to call it Biden's law. So we're not going to dismiss his involvement. He might not have
I'm not
worked every
dismissing his
word for it. Come on.
I'm not dismissing his
You're trying to belittle his involvement in the
I'm not
94 crime
brother.
bill by saying he didn't write it specifically himself.
No, because that was the language that keep getting passed around, even just a few minutes
Because
ago.
that was what he was doing.
Okay,
That bill would never have seen the light of day had it not been for Joe Biden. That's Joe Biden. That's Biden's law. He called it that himself. So let's not try to distance not the
I'm
94 crime bill from Joe Biden. Let's
not.
not do
I'm
that.
not. But I am going to focus on this. Right, the brother that was before stage made a statement about close to being pedophilia or whatever like that, a traitor to your own race. I assure you, and I assure you, I do more for the black community in California than you do all across the board. I can tell you that, even for brothers who are incarcerated, because I dedicate my time energy going back and forth to Sacramento to advocate for the changing of ACA, making sure that brothers is getting the necessary funding behind getting the collect costs removed to where they can call in. And so there's been things that I've been advocating for to tearing down the same institution and the same structure that had me incarcerated. And so at the end of the day, and including putting together organizations in my community, is if you look on my top timeline, you will see my staff staff is all black in my staff. And so there's an agenda that I push in my community to make sure that black businesses, even including how the way in which we celebrate and make sure money goes in towards, because I am a descendant of chattel slavery. I am somebody that owns the land that my family were enslaved on in Henderson, North Carolina. So I have been an advocate for pushing even support for reparations here in California. I've met with the task force. I've met with the governor to making sure it's get pushed through, even Dr. Shirley Weber. So I'm somebody that's extremely involved and on doing things for the black community. As a matter of fact, when we put together that water treatment plant facility, it was heavily impacted by black folks in our community in that area. So that's what we had a $32 million. We just broke ground 2 weeks ago to making sure black folks is getting clean water in that area. So to suggest that because I'm talking about administration today, it's not dismissing the 94 crime bill. Because there's nothing that I can do to erase the 94 crime bill. The 94 crime bill, to be honest with you, set precedents for the 96. Every brother in California was affected by the 96 three-strike law behind that. So that was the legislation that really affected every individual. And those are some of the things that we're trying to tear down now, pulling apart bits and pieces of the 96 three-strike law in California. But, I'm just strictly speaking towards policies today that could affect us and what things that we could do. Am I dismissing what Joe Biden did? Not at all. Am I dismissing the fact that he was, complicit with the 94 crime bill, that he was and the reason for, the oversaturation of building prisons because that was the money that was allocated in the 94 crime bill? No, I paroled from Calapat State Prison. So I understand what that feels like. And so at the end of the day, I stand on the policies today that is affecting our community. Yes, I would love to see the 94 crime bill revisited on so many levels, the same way I want to see the three-strike law revisited on so many levels.
Okay, now because we got more people coming up, and I know they got a lot to say, and we got hands up. But before we get to that, let me ask you this. Since we're just going to talk about today, we don't even have to go to the 94 crime bill. And what you tried to do is be out like, well, the 94, it really set precedent for the 96. You're trying to create some type of distance between Joe Biden and the harm he's done. By saying, well, it was really the three strikes law. All of that, it started with Joe Biden. Joe Biden was the grandfather of all of that. So we're not going to try to belittle his involvement in that. But before we do that, when we talk about today and the legislation he's put out during his administration as the president of the United States, with millions of undocumented illegal immigrants coming here into black neighborhoods, stealing, tethering off our resources, and harming black people. Because there's many crimes, there's even deaths involved with these illegals to black people. The inflation, when he's giving out billions of dollars, the billions of dollars he refuses to give us out. Now, you're trying to give him a pat on the back for little handouts and trinkets that he gives to every other community. Because I can guarantee you, and I'm looking the things up that you're saying right now, he's not specifically doing that for the black community. You're talking about these All Lives Matter programs and these All Lives Matter legislations that black people are included in. Nothing that he's specifically done, but just things that black people also benefit from. That's totally different, because that's not what we're talking about. Because I can name you things he's done specifically for other groups of people that they've benefited from that other people don't benefit from. I can tell you things he's done for the Asians that other people don't benefit from. I can tell you things he's done for the Hispanics that other people don't benefit from the LGBT that other people don't benefit from. But you want me to give Biden credit for him doing something that everybody benefits from, but we get included in that. So that's the standard here. He set the standard when he did it with everybody else. Now, if he wasn't doing it with everybody else, then we couldn't hold him on that. But the fact that he's doing that with everybody else, he set the standard for himself that he can do it. And because he set the standard for himself that he can do it, he's going to have to follow that with everybody else. He's going to have to follow up with everybody else. And we're the only community where he has not done that. That's what we've been saying the whole time. In this current administration, we're not even talking about the 90s, but in this current administration, there has not been anything that he's done specifically to say, you know what, let me look out for the black community over there and let me do that for them. Because we just brought up how easy it would be to put forth a hate crime, anti-black hate crime bill the way he did for the Asian community, and he has not done that, despite the fact that we've been shot up at grocery stores multiple times under his administration and by the police multiple times under his administration, and he hasn't done nothing except have a Zoom meeting with the parents and the family members. But yeah, the Asian man gets pushed down and they getting hate crime bills, legislate, all that stuff. And not just that, other groups of people too. He's given his Hispanics who come here illegally checks off the bus. So much so, Eric Adams has gone to Washington multiple times trying to negotiate Biden to stop, trying to ask him to stop. Eric Adams, the mayor of New York, has publicly said, hey, we're too much. We're at full capacity. We can't handle anymore. They're like ruining the city right now, and Biden's not letting up at all. He's not letting up at all. Lori Lightfoot was asking for help. He didn't give it to them. Brandon Johnson, the current mayor of Chicago, is asking for help. He's not giving it to them. J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, is asking. They're saying, damn, okay, we was trying to help. We was trying to ride with you, but we can't handle all of these illegals that you're sending over here. And they're sending them over here and they're directly harming our community. Not just by taking our resources, by actually physically harming members of the community. So the things that he has done that benefit the work that you're doing, and I'm not even going to have to downplay that. It does not nearly outweigh the negative things that he's put forth in his administration. It doesn't come close, anywhere near close. And I think, I'm going to be honest with you, we're just going to have to be very honest. I think this is why you're having difficulty reaching out to the people and getting them to be engaged in politics. Because a lot of black people, once they see the whole, okay, well, there's nothing that we can say that's going to get you off this train. When we seem like you're a party loyalist, then nobody's going to respect that. People aren't going to respect that. When we're having a dialogue and everything you're saying is still in defense of Joe Biden, you're trying to give Joe Biden excuses and passes. You're seeming like a party loyalist to your district of people. That's why people are not engaged in City Hall and these meetings and stuff like that, because they're a bunch of party loyalists who are on these councils and in these alderman seats, and they're not going to listen to any complaint that doesn't have to do with the Republican Party. The only complaints they listen to is about the opposite party and how they need to strengthen their own party. Because
Sir, you missed the whole point. I was a Republican, so I don't know.
I'm saying you might have been a Republican, but right now you're going above and beyond to make excuses for the Democratic Party, for Joe Biden in specific, not the party, but Joe Biden in specific. And I'm saying that to some of the people in your district, it may seem like, okay, well, this is a party loyalist. He's going to knock on the door. He's going to tell us how great of a job Joe Biden's doing. He's going to tell us how bad Donald Trump is. We heard it a million times. And that's why there's this disconnect, because we do need to focus on local elections and our local politics, our city politics, our state politics. But we're going to have to be honest. A lot of our state politics and city politics, they're run by the same people who have the same allegiance to the federal politicians. Okay, well, he dropped. I didn't kick him out. He dropped out. We're going to get to the hands. He can Is he back on? It said he dropped out. I don't know what's going on. Okay. We're gonna get to Cool Breeze, our brother Cool Breeze.
Hey, what's going on, brother? Afro Elite, brother Sage. Appreciate the space and brother Black Alpha down there and everybody else in the room. Man, it's definitely a great topic. First and foremost, definitely we as we've been pushing the line for reparations specifically for black for foundational Black Americans, because we need tangible cash payments, tangible resources. To add what you guys are saying, this kind of ties in what we were talking about, especially even the '94 crime bill. Well, some of you already know I have a private security company, Executive Protection, right? And I'm a second chance company. One of the things that's happening around the nation, I don't know if people notice it or not, but they having these illegals. They are actually joining law enforcement. They're some that allow them to come in law enforcement, all this other kind of stuff. Now, with that said, is that my company is a second chance company where basically allow a person that if they've been convicted felon, give them a second chance. The problem that so many where I'm looking to hire our people, specifically Black Americans within our company, is that the '94 crime bill has affected our people so bad. Like um, the the background check as far as them getting a weapon. What I'm looking to do is trying to help our brothers and sisters that had, a background, of a nonviolent crime and stuff like that. And the problem coming across is that the Luchtenberg Act, which there is hard for them to get their gun rights restored. And it amazes me first and foremost to see someone that's not even a citizen of this country, and they're allowing them into law enforcement to gain citizenship. Secondly, you have people that are sex offenders, pedophiles, and they can get their gun rights restored. That's one of the problems I'm coming across. Um, and for him to sit up here and say that the '94, and it ties in with the '94 crime bill, because when some of the things, getting contracts and hiring people and doing the background checks and trying to help these brothers and sisters to get clear to get to work on some of these jobs and sites and stuff like that, having their gun rights restored is becoming a huge problem where it's hard for me to get them on contract. And and it has to deal with with the '94 crime bill, and for him to say that to try to minimize that is asinine. It's crazy. And with that, I yield the mic.
Before we go, before we get to some of the other hands, I want to say, even if we talk about the '94 crime bill, and there's no excuse, just notice every time we stick him on the '94 crime bill, he's doing things to distance himself, or just not himself. He's doing things to distance Biden from the crime bill. He's doing things to be like, well, it really wasn't the '94 crime bill. It was really the '96 crime bill. So really, it really ain't got. It's not really Biden the way we said it. Then he said, okay, well, actually, Biden didn't write the '94 crime bill. I don't even know why people keep saying he wrote the '94 crime bill, as if we're uninformed. No, no. Biden went around telling everybody it was his bill. Biden's name is all through that bill. It was introduced through Biden. Biden was the main one pushing it. That bill would have never saw the light of day had it not been for Biden. Biden himself called it Biden's law. And then when I said that Biden himself called it Biden's law, then he dropped that. Everything he was doing, he always tried to distance Biden from the damage of the '94 crime bill. I mean, yeah, it was the past. Well, like, no, it's not the past because Biden still stands by it. Well, Biden didn't write it. Well, no, Biden did write it. Well, it wasn't really the '94 crime bill. It was the '96 crime bill. It doesn't matter. He kept trying to distance Biden from the damage of the '94 crime bill. If you guys caught that. And then when we talk about today, even if the '94 crime bill didn't happen, that never happened. even if that didn't happen today, the harm he's done today, he can't defend that. That's why when we started bringing up the illegals, he dropped off. He was adamant. He was the first person to come up when I first opened the space. Now he's dropped off. He's not even in the space, and I didn't kick him out. This is the attempt, and this is why I'm gonna be honest. If he really is a councilman, this is why a lot of people do not respect their officials, because we're literally giving him history and logic, and he's trying to reword it and shape it in the way that fits his party, that makes his party look good. He can't even be honest with the fact that, yeah, Joe Biden is messed up. There's some things he did I agree with, but he is messed up. He's not even trying to say that. This is why people say, well, we need to get engaged with local politics. We need to get engaged with local politics. If the councilman is sitting up there talking like this guy, no wonder people don't want to get engaged with local politics. Because we still got to deal with people like him. And I'm not trying to say you shouldn't. You should. You should still be engaged with local politics. You should be engaged and informed with everything you do. But I'm just trying to say, when he's all like, I invite people all the time and nobody shows up. No wonder nobody shows up. When they hear you talking like that, no, they're going to show up the first time, not the second time. No wonder. I'm going to get Sage, if you want to say anything, and then we're going to get to Dr. Little John, and then Aro
Absolutely.
Johnson.
And I'll make this real quick. He brought up Hakeem Jeffries. Hakeem Jeffries has never been a friend to black society as a whole. I live in his district. I know exactly where his office is. I've been there a few times. Me and Hakeem Jeffries get our hair cut by the same dude. Okay, and this dude refuses to like meet with me. I don't know if he knows exactly who I am, but again, I would like to ask him some questions because he's very attached to the Democratic Party and not so much attached to his own people. And if you live in New York, his office is at 55 Hanson Place. And you should go there and you should visit him whenever he's, not kissing Nancy Pelosi's ass. You should go there and visit him. This is why it's important for us to get involved in, like, I guess, local politics, because this guy up here, he's a council member or whatever, councilman. These are the people that garner or want our votes, but they're not doing anything specifically for us. And this is why at the local level, you hold them accountable. Because I don't think for one second that this guy has put forth, in all honesty. I think the guy said that he was a Republican, but I don't hear that from him. And I'm sorry, y'all, if y'all hear that in the background. I'm food shopping. All right, got a family to take care of. But I think for a fact that I don't think this dude was a Republican, to be honest with y'all. Because you're caping too hard for the Democrats. But what I would like the brother to understand is that, and first of all, you don't need to throw any ad hominems. I caught that. I do more than you. You do more. Yeah, I caught that. But we'll let that go. That's not. This is not what this is about. What we're trying to do is be progressive. So if you do that, brother, I take my hat off to you. Now let's teach other brothers how to do that also, so we can move forward collectively. Let's not try to throw rocks and hide our hands. Let's not do that. But so shout out to the brother. If he's trying to get some legislation passed, but I just don't believe it. I just don't believe what's coming out of your mouth. I don't believe it, brother. So if you are doing that, I'll take my hat off to you. You keep on doing it. But whatever you're gonna do, you just make sure that it's effective. And with that, I'm gonna land.
Yep, absolutely. A lot of times they'll come up and say, well, I used to be a Republican. That's a good thing that Sage brought up, a good point. A lot of times they'll come up and they'll say things like, I used to be a Republican, but then I changed my ways when I realized how anti-black they were. And then they'll start caping for the Democrats a lot. Like normally ex-Republicans still have that like kind of Republican ideology a little bit. It doesn't sound like he has that at all. We're going to get to Dr. Littlejohn and then Arrow Johnson.
Yo, yeah, I just want to reiterate, man, on, it's once again, empires are destroyed from within, man. These people within, these non-advocating advocates, man, they're giving excuses, man, for, them having the power and yet they do nothing. You know, they walk into the room and then they come out each time throwing their hands up saying it's him, it's him, it's him, it's the other guy. It's called a Hegelian dialect. You know, this dude Biden, man, we go back to his record in 1972. This dude has voted for every single war. And that's not to say that there aren't other people in Congress that are responsible. The difference is they haven't been rewarded with the highest office in the nation. This dude voted for every single war. And now look, we're in 2 wars and possibly going to be a 3rd. They're reinstating the draft and just making it digital. Nobody, all these people that are pushing for Biden, they're not thinking about, are you going to sacrifice your sons and daughters? They've sent hundreds of millions of dollars to Ukraine, to Israel. You know, I put a post in here. They gave $100 million to promote the normalization of chemical and surgical castration of children. $100 million. Yeah, in the world stage, 100 million might be chump change, but name any promoting black family initiative has been given $100 million. You know, it's funny once again how people can literally defend the people who have been in office for 40 years. The college debt problem. Biden's part of the reason why you can't expunge your college debt in a bankruptcy. And then now, a decade later, he wants to come in and pretend to be the hero. That's called the Hegelian dialect. You know, once again, just failed policies after failed policies. And the councilman or whatever he is, man, want to come in and say, oh, well, I'm doing for black. Well, they let this dude get in office. It's like this. If I'm a righteous dude and I suggested you do something, later on I find out that what I suggested was wrong, every time you see me, I'm going to be apologizing. You're going to have to tell me, hey, man, it's all right. It's okay, man. I get it. That man ain't done that. And neither have any of those people demanded that he do that. They didn't come in and say, okay, now you're in office. Let's repeal this. Let's get these brothers who've been in jail for decades for non-violent drug offenses up out of here. No, they didn't. I left my brothers behind. I'm upset because all these Negroes promoted this dude, but didn't demand that our brothers left behind enemy lines be released. And then make it so cold. Well, we could talk about Trump. When he was trying to do the prison reform, you had all these celebrities talking people out of going to discuss it. They should have had the best and brightest black minds there with a proposal. And then you could have said, oh, well, he didn't do it, bam, okay, well, but instead you didn't. If you my brother and the enemy got you behind enemy lines and the enemy says, hey, man, let's come talk about your brother, and I don't show up, that's an in front on my brother. If anything, I show up. Maybe I don't get you released. Maybe I get better treatment for you. But I show up. They left my brothers behind. They left my brothers behind. You hear that? Those are my brothers. They said, fuck my brothers. I'm hot about, because it's once again, Malcolm X, ballot or the bullet speech, 1964. He stated that yeah, we're not the majority, but we're the swinging vote. We're that lump that goes on the scale that decides who gets what. He stated the white vote was split. It's us. And yet these people who we put in power, they deal with everybody else. And then when it comes to us, then they get to you. And he didn't mince his words. He said blacks who vote Democrat are political chumps and traitors to their race if they keep voting for these people and you don't get nothing for it. We can fast forward 60 years later and look at the results. We've got nothing. Look at how tough they're pushing this alphabet agenda on us. They've never pushed in opposition to racism like this. Never. All these, affirmative action. See, I got stats. Affirmative action. The number one recipient of affirmative action was white women. White women. Same shit they do. They push stuff and put a black face on it, but then they turn around and subvert the funds to their own folks, like the homeless in LA. They're spending $800,000 on one unit. You got people out of these homeless nonprofits, the executives making $300,000 a year. We're nothing but a hustle for them. They're never going to fulfill anything that they promised to us. That's why they're trying to replace us. So they never have to fulfill those promises. And you bring the new guy in, and he's not going to complain. He's not going to protest. I'm hot because we going through the same bullshit over and over again, man. And then the first thing they say, oh, but then, well, first of all, if it's like saying, but then, that's like saying the lawyer that I hired dumped my case, but I blame the lawyer that I didn't hire for the lawyer that I did hire dumping my case. All because the lawyer I hired told me that the other lawyer ain't no good. That's the most illogical bullshit that I've heard, man. And once again, I go back to the child shit. They spent $100 million to promote chemical and surgical castration of children. That's out of pocket, period. Out of pocket, period. I don't give a fuck what you offering me. Kids are off limits, period. And these fool people are defending this shit. Look at how they're pushing this shit in our schools, man. American kids can barely even read and write. They're not even at the top 10, top 3 or 4 of industrial nations. And then they always want to come with some other program or some other, something. Man, come on, man. And these are supposed to be logical people. It's no different than these. Man, this shit got me hot, man, because we ain't. It's like, and then I had to realize that all skin folk ain't
I
kinfolk.
agree, brother. I agree.
We're gonna have to divide these lines, man. South Central. I grew up in LA. South Central looks like shit, man. You can turn some corners, man, and it's 30. I'm talking about raggedy ass RVs, not RVs that, hey, look like it looked pretty good maybe 3 or 4 or 5, 10 years ago. RVs that look like this shit been fucked up for 10 years, 20 years. How the fuck you get this RV to this street when it looks like it shouldn't have been running for the last 10 years? And not only one, it's a whole block full of them. And then you go to areas in the city where there never used to be homeless, and you turn the corner and there's a whole block full of raggedy ass RVs.
That's true.
Fools standing in front of people's businesses. Brother. People got tents in front of their businesses and shit. I can't walk down the street without smelling shit and piss.
Yeah, absolutely correct. But I guess I got a YouTube live after this, right after this, immediately after this. And I want to get to make sure everybody who wants to say anything can come up and speak. All right. So I appreciate what you said. I'm going to let you land your plane. Unless you were finished.
Nah, I appreciate it, my brother. I'm just passionate about it because I'm looking at the facts and I see a bunch of stuff. But once again, much love to all the brothers and sisters out there that's listening, and y'all have a blessed one, man.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate and respect your passion. We're gonna get to
your passion, brother. Absolutely.
We're gonna get to the next speaker, Arrow Johnson.
Thank you for letting me speak. Thanks for allow me to listen to the conversation. We were talking about the '94 crime bill, and it's very important that people keep this in context, right? Some of the same people who are against reparations, like James Clyburn, I've heard him say, "You ain't getting shit." Literally say that. So back in '94, everyone likes to talk about the crime bill, but no one wants to bring up the fact that without the Congressional Black Caucus, that bill doesn't even go to a vote. They literally bribed the CBC to make that go to a vote for the racist white Republicans and Joe Biden to throw it in our face to this day. You fast forward all the way until now, James Clyburn is telling us we ain't getting shit. So the same people are in charge. Not to mention, they went to black churches and got that shit approved. So I know everyone likes to jump on Joe Biden. The man's a proven racist. I don't need to speak for him. He speaks for himself. But when we speak about delineating, we need to start thinking about who we delineating from, because these same people are still in control at the CBC. And those are the people, trust me, it doesn't even come to a vote unless they give the okay. And I'll just land my plan there.
Yeah.
Most of these CBC people today are Caribbeans or of Caribbean descent or African descent. They're not necessarily foundational Black Americans. So the brother is absolutely correct. Not just delineating from, you know, off cold coons, but excuse me,
So
Caribbeans, but off cold coons also. I agree with that.
to be fair, I hear your point, but to be fair, in '94 there weren't a bunch of Caribbeans in the CBC. These was Southern black niggas doing this.
We got our coons in our group. We do. We're
Absolutely.
not
But
gonna
again,
dismiss that.
absolutely.
Now, I'm just saying, Clyburn is still in. He's still in office right to this day. So until I see a bunch of black people telling Clyburn specifically, we voting against you, all this other shit about Joe Biden, that shit ain't gonna matter. We can talk about Joe Biden all day. Why we not going specifically after the people in our community who allowed this shit to happen?
Well,
Clyburn should
brother.
not be winning another
Well,
election.
brother, we actually have been talking about Clyburn for a few years now. We even got people running against Jim Clyburn. We have Marcel. Marcel ran against Jim Clyburn twice. So we do
Right,
have
right,
we are
well,
acknowledging
right.
all of the collaborators of the 94 crime bill. We're specifically talking about Joe Biden because he was the tip of the spear. He
Oh yeah, the
spearheaded it,
architect.
and he's the one who's
Absolutely.
running for
He
president.
right.
Now, here's the
Absolutely.
thing: when the councilman, if he is a councilman, when he came up, I wasn't even going to go all the way back to the 90s and discuss the 94 crime bill. We don't even have to go back that far. We can go with what he's done as the president. We don't even have to go back to when he was the vice president. We can just go back to when he was the president, or as he's the president now. We can just go back to 2021 and all of the things that he's done. And there's a whole bunch of little Democratic shills in the comments. Now, so y'all know, none of them have requested to speak one single time. They saw the damage that we did to the congressman, the councilman. They saw that. And we were respectful the whole time. That's why I kept reiterating, like, oh, this is a respectful dialogue, a respectful dialogue. I'm not a councilman. So you're a councilman, so you should know all of this stuff. Now, the first thing that he was talking about is, well, man, if I was at home and I had my office papers and I was able to look up all of the statistics and things like that, I would be able to tell you then. I'm talking straight off the dome. Everything I'm saying is straight off the dome. I don't have any paperwork in front of me. I'm not looking things up. I did look up the CARE Act just to verify that was the COVID relief. But besides that, I'm not doing that, and I'm not a councilman. And yet I know more about why Joe Biden is harmful to the black community than he knows about why Joe Biden is beneficial to the black community. And he's coming up on here on our space telling us that Joe Biden is. These people, he doesn't really have an excuse for it. And by the fact that he's so uncompromising with his bias when it comes to Biden, leads me to believe this is the reason why he's having such a difficult time connecting with his district, because that's the first thing he came up here and stated. He's all like, yeah, we can talk about elections and the federal politicians, but we got to do stuff on the local level, which I agree with. But when you have people like him doing stuff on the local level and they can see, well, you're just a shield trying to climb the ladder, nobody's going to respect you. Nobody's going to go to your events. Nobody's going to go to your meetings and things like that. And this is what the Democratic shills have to do. When we have these conversations, a lot of them, they come up and they try to deflect. A lot of them, they send their smartest ones. Their smartest ones aren't smart enough, though. They send their smartest ones to come up here and to say, oh, I agree with y'all. I used to be a Republican myself, don't you know? I used to be a Republican myself. And I changed my mind because I realized how racist the Republican Party was. I'm like, okay, well, you didn't realize how racist the Democratic Party was? Because that's the thing the Republican Party always talks about, how racist the Democratic Party is. So you being a former Republican, you should see the racism on both sides, if that was the case. But how the fact that you were, when Biden was president, that's only a couple years ago. So 2 years ago, you were a Republican, not just a registered Republican voter. He, according to him, he was a part of the Heritage Foundation. That's what he said out his mouth. He said he was a part of the Heritage Foundation. So he was deep in the trenches with them. He was deep in there, but he left and he joined the Democratic Party. And now he's full throttle with the Democrats. Now he's locked in with them. It seems kind of suspicious to me. It seems like he's being disingenuous, which is what a lot of them are going to do. A lot of them are going to come up here and they're going to say some things to make it seem like there's commonality in ideology. They're going to try to create a middle ground. They be like, man, I'm just want to come up here and say I'm not a Biden shill, and then everything you say is if you're Biden's damn defense attorney. Every damn thing you say. Let me get to some of the hands, because we were supposed to be talking about Project 2025, and I still want to address some things. So we're going to get to my brother Eric Johnson.
Hey, brother Afro.
Brother Eric, you got it, bro.
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, you got it.
All right, brother. Thank you for letting me on the space. You sending flaming emojis all over these Twitter space streets. The moral of the story is these dudes that come out here talking about, Project 2025 being something real hectic for the foundational Black American community. Let me just say this: we have been through enough things and been through enough problems during this time in this country for the past 400 plus years that nothing can scare us anymore. And I don't see nothing like this made up Project 2025 scaring us. And it's just another plot to try to get black people out here to vote just for, the people that's not really bringing us tangibles to our community. And it's such a shame that you have people in the comment section just bringing a lot of negative to the space, but they don't have the heart nor the nuts or the areolas to come up into the space and have a good constructive conversation. See, this is the problem with people that come up in people's spaces. They don't be bringing extra information or even trying to bring logic to the conversation. You always have people talking about the opposite of different sides of white supremacy, but they're the same thing. Like I said in Brother Black Alpha Space yesterday, I don't have no allegiance to any political party if they're not giving me any tangibles. If you're not doing anything within the grassroots by actually giving us people that actually can, fight for our behalf, then what's the use of you coming up here just giving us a whole bunch of word salad? Just like when niggas be talking about turn certain states red for Donald Trump. If he ain't bringing anything to the table, then what's the use of voting for any of these people? I mean, if you don't have nothing specifically that we can actually touch and benefit from as an entire group, yeah, you're gonna have a couple of trinkets that certain people within our community is going to get. But if you're actually trying to make change and change for all of us within the United States of America, then you need to bring something bigger to the table. And I just get tired of, niggas coming up here just talking stupid, but ain't putting no work in, let alone say anything that'll actually get us to the finish line.
Exactly. And I want to address the Trump supporters too. I know we spent a lot of time discussing Biden and specifically the 94 crime bill. Not even Biden's current administration. We spent more time discussing the 94 crime bill than we did Biden's current administration. But that's okay. That's fine. I definitely want to address, before we get off here, I definitely want to address the Trump supporters and people acting like, well, Trump is the better option too. I'm being tagged in a whole bunch of stuff too. So there's some things I want to say about that. Before we go, Dr. Littlejohn, you got something else to say, brother?
Yeah, I just wanted to, when they talk about, all these black folks coming in and saying, oh, well, I used to be a Republican, or I don't, I don't support Biden, woo, this and that and so forth. Well, I go back to a law, the law of 1710 called meritorious manumission. And that was where if a slave made money for his master, if he saved his master's life, or if he told on a slave rebellion, he would get paid or possibly get his freedom. That law still exists. That's why they're paying these folks. That's why these folks who are supposed to be representing us don't represent us. It's that whole concept that's just evolved, you know. And like I say, until we chop some heads off, they're not going to take us serious, because we're the only group of people that you can promise decade after decade after decade and not fulfill those promises and stay in office. Until we set what they call precedent, you know, it's no different than the neighborhood. If you riding your bike up and down the street, until you fight somebody so that everybody else can say, hey man, he will fight, you're going to get picked on. You're not going to be respected. You're not going to be taken seriously. And that's part of the problem. We ain't chopped no heads off, man.
Politically,
And
yeah.
until we chop
Chop
some
heads
heads
off
off,
politically. You mean you're
politically,
saying
yeah,
that as a
politically.
metaphor?
I'm
Okay.
talking about dethroning. I'm talking about dethroning these people. Because most of these people, they're not, a lot of them aren't rich. You know, they go into, hoping to make a career out of this. So our whole thing is to say, hey, you want to make a career out of this, then you better come holler at it. If not, you'll learn like the other 350, whatever, how we dethrone them. You'll be dethroned too, and you'll have to go back to whatever you were doing prior to that. And we haven't done that. We've done none of that. It's profitable for those who are advocates to betray us. It's more profitable for them to betray us than it is for them to do for us, because we haven't set precedent. And I go back to that law, meritorious manumission, law from 1710. You look it up, you'll find that it was one Negro that told on a slave revolt, and the white town made a statue in the middle of the town with this Negro in it. See, and so once again, when people ask why, that's part of the reason why, and the same reason every time these people come in our spaces, whether it's a physical space or a digital space, they should get run through the coals, man. Like you getting bagged on at one of the best black picnics or behind the alley or in the apartment complex. They should get demolished every single time, but we don't. They get passes. Treasoners, treason, betrayal, all they should get no passes, man. And that betrayal is greater than anything else. I'll leave with this. Empires are destroyed from within, rarely from enemies afar. My enemy on the other side of the bank, I know who he is. It's the guy standing next to me. It's the guy that's pretending to be my friend, but goes behind closed doors and makes deals and agreements for himself. Sharpton and all. You look at all they didn't got filthy rich. And once again, every policy, man. It's like with the you want to talk about the project 2025. Well, when I kept seeing a bunch of shit with it listed and then with Trump's picture on it, I went to their actual website, project2025.org's website. None of the stuff they listed on these little ads I'm seeing, none of that stuff was there.
Yep. Yeah.
Now, I don't necessarily agree with anything and all that they said, but I'm just using just an example. And then if I look at the list that the media showed me, there's a gang of things on there that I agree. Abortion
All right, brother.
in
Yeah.
New York City, more
Yeah. Let
black
me
babies,
actually jump
more
on that.
black babies
Let
are
me
being
get on that
aborted.
real quick. Oh, we
Yeah,
still got
yeah.
some
Okay,
time.
let me just finish last part of that. That more black babies in New York are being aborted than being born. That's genocide, man. I don't promote. We need more black babies. The second is there was in there the list talking about ending the 3-letter agencies. I'm all for ending the FBI, CIA, and NSA. They've done nothing but
Okay,
bad.
brother.
So
All
why
right.
wouldn't I be opposed to that? But all right, anyway,
I want to say something, and this is kind of something I was saying based off the space that Black Alpha hosted yesterday. He's hosted a space about why we should vote for the couch, and you have people come up talking about we should support Donald Trump because Donald Trump is the better of the two options. Now, in this space, we were discussing how harmful Joe Biden was and how much harm he's done in his legislation and his policies, the things that he's pushed has done to the black community, specifically to harm our community. Now, With that being said, though, this space, and I will speak for myself, we do not advocate for Donald Trump. I don't advocate for Donald Trump at all. I'm not out here saying that Donald Trump is the lesser of two evils. And my thing is this: I don't feel like we should compromise, because a lot of people, I'm going to be very honest, is we got to be very honest. We're months away from the election. And I will speak for myself with this. A lot of people are getting weak in the knees, and I'm starting to see that now. A lot of y'all are folding. A lot of y'all was saying something months ago that y'all not saying today. I'm going to be very honest. Months ago, y'all was standing up strong. Man, can't nobody make me vote. Man, I'm voting for the couch. I ain't going to vote for neither one of them. To hell with both Biden and Trump. Hey, don't put stuff in the Jumbotron. You will get removed. Don't do that. Don't do that. Especially without asking my permission. Don't do that. I'm not voting for either one of them. Now the couple more months of the election, now people are starting to kind of, well, hold on. When you really think about it, though, the tax breaks, because I did get this new property and everything like that, and I think the tax breaks is pretty sweet. Now a lot of people are starting to kind of get weak in the knees, get wobbly. Now people are starting to compromise. And I want to say this to people. You are always going to lose. Always. You will forever lose a deal if you let the other person know that you refuse to get up from the table and walk away. If the other person knows that they can wait you out, which is what they're doing, because the Republicans have not promised anything specific for us at all. Now, they have with other communities as well, too. Now, if our standard is you have to do something specifically to benefit our community, we need specific tangibles. If our standard is that with the Democrats, it should be that with the Republicans as well, too. It needs to be the same thing. And if you go to a deal and you tell them, this is what I'm demanding, this is my standard, and you're not getting anything from me unless this is met, and they have to wait you out, and then next thing you know, you're compromising on your own standard, they're not going to respect your standard. The closer we get to the election, people are literally trying to come up with some excuse to justify them compromising on their standard. If the standard is tangibles, the standard needs to stay tangibles. That's what the standard is. Folks compromising on that, we're not going to get anything, because other communities don't compromise. I can promise you that. I can promise you that. I can promise you the Palestinians ain't going to compromise on that war on Gaza. I can promise you that. I don't care. It don't matter how close. It could be the day of the election. They can be like, "Well, is there still a war on Gaza?" Well, I ain't voting in. They not compromising on nothing. We got some Negroes in that space yesterday. I've been seeing it in other spaces on YouTube. Now they trying to come up with some way to justify them compromising. And if you're gonna do that, just say fine. Just say that's not my standard. But don't act big and bold like, hey, this is my standard, and then acquiesce when the person doesn't want to give it to you. And then, so you know, that only sets you back. It only sets you back because you know for a fact that they're not going to give it to you the next time. Every time you do that, you hoop and holler and you woofing, and then you get to the table and then they say no, and you say okay, and you say I can't afford to get up and leave, and you make that deal. Then the next time you come to the table and you demand anything, they're going to do the same thing. That's why the Democrats are doing it. So my whole thing is, if you have a certain standard, keep the standard with both parties. Don't be all like, no tangibles, no vote for the Democrats, but not no tangibles, no vote for the Republicans. A lot of y'all kind of getting weak. I'm not gonna lie. I've kind of been disappointed in some of y'all. We're gonna get to some of the hands. We got our, let me see. We got our sister. I'll let you skip the line. FBA Goddess, you got it. You can come on.
Hey, Afro, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I was coming up here to talk about Trump. I was, the first one that was speaking on that, only because, of course, I'm done with the Democrats until I started looking into different things when it comes to him. He's not, he hasn't put anything up for us at all. But what he has done is talk about stop and frisk and indemnifying the police. And if you know what that means that he wants them not to be charged or criminally or as far as having to pay or anything of that nature when they do stuff to people, and you know who that's going to affect. So no, I vote for sitting on the couch. Let them crash and burn on their own. They don't need our help. So that's what I vote to do. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. I appreciate you. We're gonna get now. Let me see. Chicago Red. You can unmute yourself.
Thank you so much for allowing me to speak. First things first, I want to say they just shot my president. President Trump was just shot at the Trump rally in Pennsylvania. He's alive and he is well. They said that the bullet hit his ear. Aha,
Mama
y'all
said he got
missed.
shot.
Yeah,
Mama said he
Are
got
you
I'm
shot.
serious?
dead serious at this very
I
moment. I'm sitting here
swear
with my
she
mouth.
said it.
Okay, hold on. Hold
Hold on.
on.
I'm sorry. I don't know how I got muted, but yeah, that just happened right now. So
How are you
please.
speaking over the mute? How are you speaking over the mute? Everybody mute themselves. What the hell is going on in this space? I just Googled Trump news. Ain't nothing's coming up with him being shot. Nothing at all is coming up with him being shot.
Google it, honey. It literally happened 2 minutes ago.
I literally just Googled it 30 seconds
It
ago, and
says, and
nothing is
I'm
coming
looking
up
at
with
it.
him
He
being
grabbed
shot.
his neck and he hit the ground. Like I said, he's
Okay.
okay. He's alive and well.
Okay. Let's
But anyway, that's not why I'm
okay.
here. That's not why I'm here. I'm just telling y'all what I just saw. Literally, I'm sitting here with my mouth open. Anyway, I say all this to say this. First off, hello, Afro Elite. I heard that you're from my city as well. We are doing Chicago Red, Black Chicago for Trump. And the reason that we're doing this, regardless of whether or not we get federal reparations, because we have been successful doing it on the city level, we have to get this border closed. The west side of Chicago is the epicenter for the cartel, and they're selling more drugs, more guns, all kind of stuff, making my community way less safe than it's ever been. So regardless of whatever tangibles people are doing, Black Chicago is going to be compromised if we continue with Joe Biden in this open border. That's what we're focused on right now. We're also focused on getting Operation Legend back in effect here in the city of Chicago, because when Trump was in office and he sent Operation Legend to the city of Chicago, my family was fortunate enough to get 3 murders solved. And that were 17 other people on that indictment. So 20 families on the west side got justice because of Operation Legend. So that's what we're on. We're not sitting on the couch. We're actually pushing our people to vote. We're telling our people that you're better than this terrorism and chaos and dysfunction that the Democratic Party has been imposing on us since before our people left Mississippi. They were running from white Democrats. They came up here to Chicago and were further terrorized by white Democrats. We are very clear about who our enemy is and who's the villain of the story, and that's the Chicago Democratic Party. And our self-esteem is set up in a way about that.
Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt,
Sorry,
Chicago
someone was
Red.
calling
Y'all
me,
heard
but
they just be
we're
shooting.
not. Hold on, let
They
me
just been
finish.
shooting at the
We're not
drama.
gonna do that. We're not gonna do that now. We're not gonna do that. No. Because on the playback, it's going to sound all types of messed up. It's going to sound all types of janky and messed up.
Can you
Nobody
hear
can
me?
hear each other.
Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
I
I'm
can hear
sorry. I'm
you.
standing outside and it's about to
It
rain.
sounds like you was landing your plane.
Sorry. Sorry, I'm here. So anyway, that's all that to say. We know who our villain is. We know who we're fighting against, and we know who we're getting away from. And sitting on the couch is only going to allow our villain to continue to terrorize us. And we pay too many taxes, too much taxes, work too hard, walk through too much snow, too much rain, too much heat to allow anybody to terrorize us in our own town. Thank y'all.
Okay, let me ask you a question before you go. Let me ask you this question. What do you think about the system of white supremacy? Do you think the system of white supremacy exists?
I don't believe in that at all.
Okay. Well, see, that's my ultimate goal, is to dismantle the system of white supremacy. My ultimate goal is because I don't believe that the Democrats are anti-black, but the Republicans are not anti-black. I believe they're both anti-black. They're both two sides of the same coin. So when you're saying we know who our true enemy is, our true enemy really is the system of white supremacy that
Well,
both of them are players in. Both of them, even though they have different methodologies and maybe different wants and desires at some point, both of them are players in the system of white
I have a question
supremacy.
for you. You from the city, right? You
Yes.
from Chicago? What
Yeah.
side of the city you on?
The South Side.
Okay, you out south. I'm on the west side. When in the history of your living in the city of Chicago has the Republican Party instituted anything toward you in your home that harms you policy wise? Because we don't know them on the west side. Our boogeyman is not the white Republican boogeyman. He does not exist over here. And the reason that I
Ma'am.
don't pay attention to white supremacy, hold on, I'm gonna come back. The reason I don't pay attention to white supremacy is because white supremacy is inherently saying Negro inferiority, and ain't nothing inferior about us. White folks ain't holding us back in the Austin community. We thriving over here. Our
But
only
hold on, hold on,
problem
hold
is the
on. Wait,
Democrats
wait a
and their
second. Hold on now.
terrorism.
Hold on. Because y'all don't say that when it comes to the Democrats. Now, when the Democrats do something, it's not white folks not holding you back. The Democrats are still white. Joe
No, I know.
Biden is
I don't
white.
say that they
Hold
hold
on.
us back.
See,
I never said
hold
that.
on. Now, when we say things like Joe Biden is doing harm to the black community and it's harming the black community, y'all don't have an issue with that. But then when we say white supremacy, y'all be all like, well, no white person can affect me. But Joe Biden is
They're
white.
not. No, he's a
Well,
part of the system.
Joe
He's a
Biden is
part of a
also white,
party,
sir.
a power structure.
No,
Not no,
no,
these
no.
random
Joe
white people in
Biden
Oak
is
Park can't
white.
hurt me.
No,
Do
hold
you think
on,
that the white people in
ma'am,
Oak Park can hurt me?
ma'am,
Are you
ma'am.
scared of white folks in Tinley Park?
It's not about being scared, ma'am. It's about the reality of the
The reality
situation.
is they're
Are
not
you
holding us
scared of Joe
back.
Biden? Are you scared of Joe Biden, ma'am?
No, but I deserve better than him. I'm
And
not scared of
I
any of
agree, and
them.
we all deserve better than him and Donald Trump.
Well, what you gonna do? Those are the choices.
Now, there's not the choices to me. I don't have to pick either one of them.
And
I
you
don't
don't
have
have
to
to.
pick
I
the
promise
lesser
you
of
don't
two
have
evils.
to. I'm not here to sell them to you, love. I'm not here to sell them to you. I'm just
You
giving
kind of
you my
you
opinion and
did
what
come up
we
here trying
own.
to sell them, man. You
No,
did.
I didn't. I just told you what we doing.
Respectfully,
Chicago Red.
respectfully, I understand what you're saying. But then when I asked you about the system of white supremacy, you said you don't believe in that.
I don't
And you
believe
said,
in it. Not at
hold
all.
on. Hey, you're not going to be interrupting me. You said that you do not believe in the system of white supremacy and that white men cannot hold you back. And then when I said, well, isn't Joe Biden the white man that you said that's our true enemy? Then now you're trying to change it up. Now, when the white men are the Democrats, then the white man can hold you back. But when the white men are the Republicans, then the white man has no power over you. So how does that
No,
work?
sir. That's not what I'm saying because I know here in the city of Chicago, the people who are implementing these policies are not white men. These are fellow Negroes who belong to the Chicago
Man,
Democratic Party.
okay,
So I don't even get
ma'am. Okay,
involved
let
with
me ask
that.
you:
I don't care about them.
Is JP Prisker? Is JP Prisker? Is he white?
Yes,
Is
yes,
he
he
not
is a
the
rich
governor of
Jewish
the state of
man.
Illinois?
Yes, he
Okay.
is.
Have we never had a white mayor in the city of Chicago?
We've had them
Do
for
we have
years,
white? So it's
but we
not
haven't
like
had.
all black people are running that. And here's the thing,
No, but we have the most black elected officials anywhere in the
and as
country.
true as that
Anywhere in
is,
the country.
they are all working under the instructions of white men. The Brandon Johnson, Lori Lightfoot, all of them. Because you came up here and you were talking about Joe Biden, and we understand who our true enemy is. I'm trying to
Yes,
say
the
our
Democrat.
true
No, the
enemy.
Chicago Democratic
I'm trying
Party,
to say
not Joe
our true
Biden.
enemy does not stop at the Democratic Party.
That's the only enemy I ever seen.
Okay,
That's it.
I think you need to do some more research
No,
on the enemy, then.
I live in the Austin community. I do this in real life. I
Ma'am.
know who's
Okay,
been hurting us. I
ma'am,
know,
ma'am,
sir.
ma'am. Stop it.
I'm
Cut that
telling you,
out,
I know what we're doing. You can come on here and tell
ma'am.
these people.
Hey, when I start speaking, you stop speaking. Cut that out.
Are
This
we
is why
not having a
nobody's getting behind y'all.
conversation? No, they are. They're
Ma'am,
behind us. The whole.
as hold on, as a host in my space, you are not to cut me off. Don't do that. Now, when I allow you to speak, you can speak, but that's not a conversation. Ain't going both ways like we both host. You still need to respect the host. Now, when you came up and asked, and I asked you about white supremacy, you say you don't believe in white supremacy. So let's put a pin in Chicago and say the Democrats are the problem in Chicago. What about the rest of America? What about everybody else, everywhere else where black people are living in?
Those people should come and advocate for themselves. I do business on behalf of the Austin community, the west side of Chicago, the city of
Hmm.
Chicago, the county of Cook, and the state of Illinois. If you got problems somewhere else, do the work and come and represent your people. But I'm not here to speak on behalf of America. I know who I represent and I
Okay,
know who's
so let
hurting
me ask you
us.
this then. Let me ask you this.
Yes.
Let
Hmm.
me ask you this. What specific benefits is Donald Trump going to do to the city of Chicago, for the
He's
city
gonna
of
close.
Chicago?
He's gonna close that border, and he's going to come up here and deal with this cartel issue that we have going on the west side.
Okay.
Uh huh.
That's a tangible issue that you feel
That's a
like he's going to
tangible.
do.
Absolutely.
Have
Yes.
so were we not dealing with illegal immigrants in Chicago when Donald Trump was president?
Not at this
Were we
level.
not?
Absolutely
No,
not.
no,
No.
well, hold on. Now we were though, because
We
we both in the
we were
same city.
sanctuary
Yes, we
city. Yes,
were.
we are. Yes, we
Yes,
are. We were
we were.
sanctuary city.
We were dealing with the cartel. We were dealing with illegals when Donald Trump, the whole 4 years he was in office.
Were
Now
they
you
sleeping
tell me,
outside the police station?
ma'am, no. Now I'm not saying the problem was as bad, but it's not like he's gonna get rid of the problem the way he didn't get rid of the problem when he first got in there.
We didn't have it. We didn't have them sleeping outside the police stations. We didn't
Yeah,
have them begging in the street
he
with their
might put it,
children.
he
We didn't
might
have
put a
that.
border. Stop, because I know you can hear me.
I can hear you well.
Okay, so he might slow it down, but I'm asking for a specific tangible. Him getting rid of that, that's not a specific tangible
Closing that
specifically
border
for
is
us.
what
That's
I
not
want. That's what I
okay.
want.
That
The
might
border
be.
closed.
And here's the thing. Here's the
Mm-hmm.
thing. If that's your standard, that's fine.
Uh huh.
That's your standard. That's fine. And I'm not trying to change your mind. That's not my standard, though.
And that's
My
okay.
standard needs to be something tangible. The same way he's giving out tangibles to other communities. He's not going to shortcut me and shortcut my community and get the same support he's getting, but he's paying a higher price to everybody else. He's not going to do that to me. He's not going to do that, and Joe Biden's not going to do that. If you want my support the same way you want everybody else's support, you're going to pay me the same you're paying everybody else. You're actually going to pay me more because my vote is more valuable than their vote. Black America's vote is more valuable than their vote. So we need to be paid more than you're paying everybody else. But you're damn sure not going to short us because Donald Trump is promising tangibles to other communities. He's giving things to other communities. So is Joe Biden. So I'm holding Donald Trump and Joe Biden to the same exact standard.
Exactly. And that's exactly what they're calling me because again, my president just got shot. Um, I
Okay,
said that
ma'am.
yes, but hold on. I want to just leave you with this because I got.
Ma'am, Trump did
I'm
not
telling
get
you,
shot.
he did. He's bleeding, literally. Look it
No,
up.
he did. Y'all
Okay,
looked at,
I
ma'am. Please, you you going out sad, ma'am. Please stop. Please stop. That's sad. Don't do that. Why are you doing that? Trump did not just get shot. What are you talking about? Okay, hold on.
okay. I don't have to lie. Like I say, I know what I'm talking. I'm
Just
literally
Google
a
it every way
surrogate.
I could, and I didn't find that.
It's
No,
So
all over. Just
he got
literally
shot.
typing in the
The
search
second
key.
she said that, I
Type in
went
the
to
search key.
Googling
You'll
it,
see the
and he didn't get
video. I'm
shot.
not lying. I'm not lying at all. I don't have a reason to lie. I'm a
well,
surrogate for the
post it
campaign,
then.
and
Post
they
it in the
calling me, so
Jumbotron.
that's why I got to wrap this up.
Ma'am, stop.
Sir,
Ma'am,
I don't
stop.
have to lie to
You
you. Who
going
are
out
you for me to
bad.
lie
You
to?
going out bad.
I'm not going out bad.
Man,
You're
yes,
going
you
out
are. You
bad. You
talking
come on
about
here, you
Donald
talk
Trump got
like this
shot.
for
He
the
didn't
and
get
act like
shot,
you're
ma'am.
representing our city and you're not.
Ma'am,
We're gonna vote. If
ma'am.
you want to sit at home, sit at the house. But
Okay, all
everybody
right. We getting these crazy ass drunk old lady conspiracy theories. You got to get out of here. I'm sorry. Talking about Donald Trump just got shot. Lord have mercy.
First of all, if Trump did get shot, I don't give a fuck. Okay, I want that to be real clear. This is Sage speaking. I don't give a fuck if Trump does get shot. So what? It's 6:31 in New York. We don't give a damn. I don't give a damn if Biden gets shot. I don't give a damn if Trump gets shot. I don't give a damn if Kamala gets shot. I don't give a damn. I don't give a shit. Okay? What the fuck you want me to do? Who cares? Where are the tangibles? Go ahead, Afro.
All right, we got some more speakers on here. I keep pushing my YouTube thing back because this is the conversation I think we've been needing to have. All right. We're gonna get to some of the hands. Eric, you can go and then we'll get to our brother John.
Thank you, brother Afro, for letting me come back on. There has been news reports of shots fired, but we don't know if the motherfucker actually got shot. And just like Sage was saying, if he got shot, I don't give two fucks about that dude because he hasn't did nothing. Just like the Democratic Party hasn't did nothing for the Black American community, and for that lady to come up here high off a 10 piece of crack that been spilled on the ground on the south side of Chicago. You have been in the most segregated city within the United States of America. For you to be coming up here just sucking off Trump's nuts and just acting all crazy. See, this what gets me real irritated with some of us within the Black American community voting for these people, and they have never did anything specifically for our group. Yeah, they'll give us little trinkets and do things here and there though, but I'm talking about something that will change for generations to come. And for that lady to be coming up here glizzy gobbling on Master Trump's you know what, it just goes to show you that a lot of us have been lost for the past 60 plus years when it comes to our ancestors voting Democrat down ballot and keep voting for less of two evils. Joe
Yeah,
Biden
he
ain't
did get shot. I just got some information. He did.
okay. Well, then, just like
Well,
Sage said,
please
But
post
who
that
gives a fuck though?
information.
But yeah.
Please post that because I'm looking it up and it's not confirming that he actually got shot. It
and
says
just like oh,
shots fired
Word,
at him
he did not get
allegedly.
shot, bro. He did not get shot.
I'm looking
That's
this
not
up
true.
right now. It's not saying he
Hold
actually
on.
got hit by a bullet. But okay, if
Not
you have
true.
it, please
Not
post that.
true.
oh yeah, and
John,
just like
Eric, you got it. Hey,
all
hey,
right,
y'all gotta raise your hand so I know what order to go in.
My bad, my bad, my bad.
and just like I was saying, just like Brother Sage was saying, I don't give a fuck if he got shot or not. That ain't bringing nothing specific to our people because we done seen worse things happen within our community. They done dropped bombs on our people in Oklahoma. They done been beating our asses with batons, spraying water on us. That is light work compared to what Black Americans have been going through over the past 400 plus years in this country. So for niggas to be coming up here just trying to ride on Dr. Trump's nuts and just try to say that we need to get rid of Joe Biden, we need to get rid of the system of white supremacy, and for you to be a Black American person, allegedly, how do you not
I'm getting
understand
ready to post.
what you were saying, FBA goddess?
I'm posting it on my timeline, and
Just keep going. Just keep going. I'm
Oh,
actually watching the video right now.
okay then. Well, I'm gonna land my plane right here. For us to be going back and forth about who we should vote for, who we shouldn't vote for, I'm voting for the goddamn couch. If you ain't doing that specifically for our people on either side, I'm not paying no damn attention to either of y'all. I'm giving y'all Stone Cold Steve Austin double birds in your face. And that's all I have to say. And some of you niggas just need to sit down and lay down because y'all are not smart enough to come up here saying that y'all know anything about politics. I ain't saying I'm the smartest person in the world, but I go by common sense and logic. If they ain't doing that specifically for us as a group, then what's the use of voting for both of these people that are twin birds off the system of white supremacy? I'll land my plane there.
Hey, I'm sorry I'm stepping out of turn, but I'm gonna tell you this: he did not get shot, and I agree with Eric. I'm telling you, bro, is we gotta vote for our interests, for tangibles, like Tariq say all the time. And I agree with Eric 100%, bro. He did not get shot, bro. And I land my plane.
All right, John, you got it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just gonna come up here basically, yeah. Something, yeah, he did get hit up or whatever. I don't like Eric said, it really ain't got nothing to do with us, to be honest. That's between the Republicans and the Democrats. So if he did get shot, hey, it is what it is, nigga. Like, let's just make sure that for us as a group, bro, we don't get involved in their mess and they fight. So we just need to handle our business. Look, I see it like this. Don't vote unless that bag heavy, bro. That's my motto. If the bag not heavy, I'm sitting home. I look at it, it's a business deal, nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't like the deal you got on the table, nigga. I'm sitting right where the fuck I'm at. And we're gonna continue to do what we've been doing. You know what I'm saying? It's about reparations, it's about economics, bro. If you want to vote, look, I vote for my ancestors. I vote for Rosewood, those people black people, bro, who's trying to build up their own communities and cities and shit like that. They got bombed and never got compensated for none of that. I vote for them. I vote for everybody who, you know what I'm saying, in our family, bro, who don't, who, you know, down our lineage, bro, who's lost everything, bro, economically, being shut out economically, not being able to you know, handle our own business, bro, and just do what it is that we supposed to do, you know. So, you know, ain't there's no need for us to be afraid of, you know, of the Project 2025, bro. Like we've been living that. There's nothing that these people have done to us that we have not been through. They don't have no new tricks. Stop being afraid. Sit home. Ain't nothing gonna happen to you. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is, bro. You just need to we just need to be focused, be on code, and it's about reparations. It's about economics, bro. Vote for Black empowerment, and I land.
Hey, I agree with that, John. I'm from Wilmington, North Carolina, and we had a big atrocity. We working right now, rallying people for the atrocity that happened to my people, and I agree with you too. Like we got to get
And
united. We got to get
that's
together.
not the order. That's not the order we was gonna go in.
My bad. My bad. My bad.
And everybody got to raise their hand. We're gonna get to our brother Sage.
I'm
Now,
gonna make
hold
this
on.
real
Before
quick.
you go, Sage. Before you go, Sage. I just looked it up. It did. To be honest, I ain't gonna lie to you. This looked like a publicity stunt to me. I'm not gonna hold you. This looked like a publicity stunt to me. How a former president got allegedly shot. They missed him. There's no severe damage. They missed him. They clipped his ear a little. You close enough to his head, but you missed it. That looked like a publicity stunt to me. It off stage and okay.
All
Say
those
you
people.
got it.
Um, I'm gonna channel the inner ancestor here and say, as an old farm boy, you know, this looks like a tale of chickens coming home to roost. And I want to ask you a very important question, Afro. What you gonna eat tonight?
I don't know. I got some chicken today. I might do some chicken breast, trying to get my weight up and everything, stay healthy.
Oh,
That,
okay,
some rice, maybe a side of broccoli too.
got you. Now you see that that's more important than this motherfucker getting shot to me. I don't give a damn. I got to figure out what I'm gonna eat later on tonight. My day goes on, so I'm not here, trying to cape for this man. I don't give a shit. Okay, and with that, I land.
All right. Damn, we got a lot of people up here.
Excuse my language too. I'm sorry for cursing so much.
No,
Excuse my
it's
language. That's
okay. It's
I guess
okay.
that's the Brooklyn right there. I'm sorry.
Chicken's coming home to roost. That's interesting because I'm gonna eat chicken later on tonight. What a coincidence. Now, if you don't have your hand up, I'm gonna assume you don't have anything you got to say. We're gonna get to. Let me find out. Mark, what you got to say? What you got to say? They tried to kill Trump. What you got to say?
I don't give a fuck if they killed him. What difference does it make to me? So
Okay.
let me say this right here, right? And let me say this as a man older to be your big brother.
Mm-hmm.
Understand this. Most of y'all as young people, you're not gonna come out and get involved with shit. No way. You just talk, right? Besides this app, you're not gonna get a vast group of young people to do shit. Okay? I mean, no different than when we were young people, we didn't get involved with shit. So you're not in a position to say yay or nay about a damn thing. Most
Damn.
things, most things that are decisions are made by the older generation. I mean, that's just the way it goes. You know what I'm saying? When we were younger, you couldn't get us involved in no politics and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? It just didn't happen. It was a few of us, but the vast majority of us, and when we were young, we didn't get involved with shit, right? So, and to be honest with you, they're not even worried about the younger generation. They're not even looking at you. Don't give a fuck about what you say or do. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad to say, but and I'm talking about these older black people, along with these white folks, because of conditioning. Because of conditioning, they basically can almost predict the outcome. So when it comes to the politics of this shit, the older people are gonna make the decisions. And now that our generation is 50 and older, we kind of like really getting involved now. But again, y'all as young people, you ain't gonna do shit. You just talk. You know what I'm saying? You get high and you drink and smoke too motherfucking much as a generation. No different than when we were young, we were doing the same. We ain't had time to be paying no attention to shit, right? We selling dope, smoking weed, drinking, partying, voting, getting involved with politics. Man, fuck that shit. That's how we were talking.
Mm.
So and that's exactly what y'all saying, as on a large scale, not
Well,
individually.
actually that's not true. Now, in
Okay,
this era, we have the youngest generation of politicians America's ever seen. We're seeing more young politicians than America has ever seen. We've never seen as many politicians in office, elected politicians in office in their late 20s and early 30s in American history. You're saying that the young,
okay. So
you
here's
saying
what I
that
want
the
you to do.
youthful, hold on, brother. You saying that the youthful vote don't count. The youthful vote, that's why Biden got in office in the first place. So
Okay,
is the youthful,
so
is if the young vote might not be as reliable as the old vote, because they are stuck in their ways and they believe that's how change is bought. We might not be as reliable, but for you to say we're not active and we just gonna sit down and smoke and drink and everything like that, you're factually incorrect.
okay. So fuck what I'm saying. Go look at the numbers. Now let's go to the next point. Okay, the numbers will tell you everything. 18 to 30. Just go look at that voting population and look at the
Brother
percentage.
Mark, I'm gonna let you finish. I'm so sorry to cut you off. I just hit up somebody that's in the know with that whole Trump situation. It is unclear if he was hit, but there was loud bangs. They suspect it was gunfire. It's not sure yet that if it was gunfire. I just wanted to point that out, brother. You
Mhm.
can go ahead.
There was one report I
Okay.
was saying that Donald Trump's ear
Sorry to
was
cut you
bleeding, the
off.
other one saying it wasn't. So it's kind of like up in the air. So we don't know. It could be a whole farce along. If he did get shot at, I think it's a publicity stunt. But he might not have even gotten shot at, to be honest.
But he's just a tool to be used. We don't give a fuck about
But
that
yeah,
shit. You know what I'm saying?
you can
He nothing
finish
but a
your point,
tool.
Mark. But we got a
So,
lot of
so
other speakers,
right.
brother.
But I'm just saying, he's just a tool to be used. You know what I'm saying? We ain't in love with that shit. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? For real. So the thing is, but when I hear y'all speak of this whole thing of tangibles and all, why you waiting on them to give it to you? Outside of reparations, what you waiting on? Take your way into this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know how to do it, then you talk to some people that know how to take their way into this shit. You don't
Now you say
look.
you take your way into.
Yes,
Explain
the
what are we
economics.
taking our way into? What do you mean?
Cool. So the land in your communities. There's open land to be developed in your communities. Take your way into it, meaning that your elected officials, your local elected officials, because most politics are local, not on a national level. Your
Okay.
everyday politics. The money is gonna come from the federal government down to the state, down to the county, down to your municipal level. I don't give a fuck who in office. It's gonna come down. You got a budget for your schools, your parks, your city colleges, your water reclamation, your housing
Okay.
authority. Just
Yeah.
listen to me now. You know what I'm saying? I'm showing you how to win. I'm showing you how in 2013, you know what I'm saying, we won $163 million by goddamn it taking a law that had been on the books since 1968 and start enforcing it. And whether through complaints or filing suits, we got cut in. And just last year, we got another $300 million. I'm showing you how to get the money. Fuck all that, you know what I'm saying? Just talking to be talking, because that's all these national organizations do. They talk. Okay? I'm here in Chicago where all these national nigga organizations, it ain't none of them building shit. They don't own shit. All they
Is it just me or did he break up?
I can't hear him no more. I thought it was me.
He's not muted. I don't know what happened. All right. Well, we ain't gonna slow the room up. Now the first thing he wanted to do is come up.
for the right to vote. They
Hold
don't
on,
care
brother.
about none of that shit.
Okay.
They coming here making these people cut them in on the
Here's the
money,
thing.
the
Here's the thing.
land.
Before we get to some of the other speakers, here's the thing. We can do multiple things at the same time. You don't gotta belittle what we're doing as far as pushing and advocating for
I'm not
reparations.
belittling what you're doing, man.
But what
I'm
what
not
we're
belittling
saying
what you're
is
doing.
when we
I'm
say
saying
no
to you what you got
tangibles,
to be
hold on.
doing.
When we say no tangibles, no vote, that don't mean that we not doing nothing. You're saying that. We're not saying don't do anything unless they give us reparations. You're the ones who's saying that. We're not saying that we're doing that. We're saying we're not going to vote unless we get tangibles. That doesn't mean we're not going to actively be a part of the community. And you're seeing now, like I said before, when you said that young people weren't doing anything, you're seeing now more young people than ever before do things.
Okay. So let me say this other part. You saying no tangibles, no vote. Less than 30% of our people gonna come out to vote any fucking way. So you've been sitting
So,
on the couch. You ain't
hold on,
doing nothing
hold on, stop,
spectacular. It
stop,
just sounds
stop,
new
stop,
to you.
stop. Because you're incorrect.
Shit.
You're incorrect. Polls have shown throughout the course of years that black turnout is starting to decrease because black people are less enthusiastic about voting for politicians because we realize we're not getting anything from that. So when we say we have demands that need to be met in order for them to vote, like other communities do, we're being very serious and we're actually seeing that play out.
Okay, so let me be honest. Let me be open and honest with you. You ain't no position to demand shit. Let's first
No, no, I
understand that.
disagree. No, no,
Nationally.
no, I
Just
no,
just
no,
just
no,
listen.
no,
Just
no,
listen
no,
to me
no,
now.
no. We're not.
Cause I
No,
let you
no,
talk and
no.
then you let me
Hey,
let
no,
me speak,
no,
okay?
no.
Go
Hey,
ahead.
when I say no, it's no, nigga. Okay, don't overtalk the host. Here's the thing. I'm not in a position. Yes, I am in a position because they're asking me for something. They're knocking on my door asking for something. If somebody knocks on my door and asks for something, then yes, I am in a position. You don't get to knock on my door and say you're not in position to
Tell me
tell
your
me
strength
no.
then. Tell me your strength. Tell me your strength. Let me hear.
My strength is this platform that you're speaking on. And the fact that I can
Man,
garner a
fuck this
platform that
damn
all of you
platform. I'm
guys
talking
can
about
spread this
power and
message
the
out.
power and
That's
money.
the
You talking about
strength.
some damn
That's
platform.
the
That
strength.
ain't shit.
The strength
That ain't
that
shit.
ain't
That
shit.
ain't shit. I'm talking about when you
The
talking
platform that
politics.
you're speaking on ain't shit. You can't get a platform like
That ain't
this. You on my platform telling me my platform ain't shit. I ain't on your platform. You on my platform. You on my space. I ain't in your space. You in my space. Okay. These old niggas, man. I swear. I think we heard enough. Thank you, brother. You have a good night. You have a good night. We're gonna get to the next hand right now. We'll get to why did you boycott? Let me see. Why did you boycott today? You get to unmute yourself. Oh, hold on. Let me press the unmute button. You got it. Damn. Okay. This thing.
All right. Thank you. Thank you to the.
It keep kind of jumping in and out, but you got it. You got it. You can speak. Okay. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alpha, come back to me. I got to run in and take care of some business with my, job. But I re-raise my hand.
All right. We'll get to Mass Appeal 2021.
Peace, brother. Um, I wanted to get on the history of things because you keep talking about how Project 2025 is something that we shouldn't be afraid of. And I'm wondering how, unless you are like 70, 80 years old, you've never really experienced any of the things that are actually in Project 2025. And being a resident of Chicago, I'm just curious as to, because historically speaking, Chicago was the blueprint for how the Northern Republicans could work with the Southern Dixiecrats to gentrification and redline an entire city, a city that was thriving, a city that was part of the Black Panther movement, a city that was targeted as being the birthplace of a new Black civil rights revolution, was targeted and destroyed, and your communities were completely wiped off of the map for in a lot of different ways. Not completely, but enough to cause a great disturbance. That's why Chicago is flooded with guns and drugs and the things that it is now. That was never by mistake. That was by design. Going from J. Edgar Hoover to the CIA and George Bush, all of them. That was the plot. I mean, the show Snowfall, even though it was in LA, you can look at identical framework that existed in Chicago at that time. So my question for you is, why do you feel like this is something that we should not be afraid of? I'm agreeing with your platform of all we picking is racist A or racist B between Trump or Biden. Biden was actually one of the mastermind engineers of the industrial prison complex and what it could do and how blacks could be an energy resource without having to actually be enslaved or be in Jim Crow and still make white men richer. So I'm just wondering why it is that something that we've never actually lived through, but we're seeing the effects of it right now, doesn't worry you at all as far as strategically how to grow as a community and separate from both parties in general.
Okay. To answer your question, I'm going to say number one, Project 2025 is the plan of the Heritage Foundation. That is Kevin Roberts' plan. It's not Donald Trump's plan. The Democrats are marketing it and they're trying to push it out as if this is the agenda of Donald Trump. It's not Donald Trump's agenda, it's Kevin Roberts' agenda. So even if Donald Trump does get reelected, that does not mean that the Project 2025 is the plan he's going to implement, especially considering the fact that he has his own agenda, which is separate and in some ways contradict Project 2025. So I'm not worried about that because we've never heard Donald Trump say anything that he was going to endorse Project 2025. The only thing he said about Project 2025 is that is actually not his plan and that third party groups don't speak for him or his campaign. So
Okay, can I chime in right there? I'm not
hold
trying
on.
to cut
Let
you
me
off.
finish answering. Let me finish
Okay, go
answering.
ahead. Go ahead.
And then the second part to that is that, like you've just been saying, we've already gone through these things. Project 2025 is not going to introduce anything new that we haven't already been experiencing and dealing with. We've already been dealing with these things. So if we can survive redlining, we can survive Jim Crow, we can survive all of these things. Project 2025 is not no new monster and is not worse than what we are already going through. Chicago's already segregated and it's not getting fixed now. The Biden and the Democratic Party is not fixing that currently. So all of the damages that you were just expressing are very true and very accurate, but none of that is getting fixed by the Democratic Party. What they're trying to do is they're trying to get us to fear some doom, some monster from the Republican Party and ignore all of the harm that they've been doing. So for those two reasons, I'm not worried about Project 2025. Plus, if we're going to be honest, there are some things, I'm going to be very honest with you, and this is just me, Afro Elite, I speak for myself with this. There are some things in Project 2025 that I agree with.
Such
In
as?
Project 20 for 25, I definitely agree with ending that mass deportation. I'm totally with that.
Okay,
So
I
that's
don't
why
have a
I'm saying
problem
I'm
with
not worried about it.
I don't have a problem with mass deportation. What I have a problem with is that, and this is where I feel the inherent contradiction in what you're saying is, you have a problem with white supremacy, but yet and still, Project 25 is the platform for white supremacy to harness the power back legally. Forget the fact that capitalism is what keeps them flowing with their ability to do what they do right now. But they want no red tape, no structures, no anything in place to prohibit them from being able to execute however it is that they want to. And in reference to that, you keep saying that there's nothing in Project 2025 that we haven't lived through. None of us lived through Jim Crow. Our ancestors did, but none of us lived through that. None of us went through what that was. And so we can't really
But
quantify.
Project 2025 is not Jim Crow.
Project 2025 is nothing more than a modern version of Jim
Brother,
Crow.
I've
As a matter
did
of
two
fact, the founder
broadcasts.
said directly.
I've did two broadcasts on Project 2025. Everybody's trying to make it seem like Project 2025 is this boogeyman. And when I ask people specifically, what does Project 2025 do specifically to harm our community, specifically to set the black community back? Nobody can specify what in Project 2025 does that will specifically set the black community back.
Okay, I can answer you. I can answer you with that. You got the
Okay.
right one. The first thing it does is that it increases funding back to police forces, which increases their ability to militarize, which is what we've just been working on for the last uh, 4 to 12 years to
brother,
be able
brother,
to take away from them.
and as true as that may be, brother, Joe Biden said that he wants to give police more money. Joe Biden said
Brothers,
that at the State of the
okay,
Union.
now
Joe Biden has
if
also.
you can,
So Joe
that's
Biden,
something that
hold on, brother.
okay.
Joe Biden and Donald Trump both said that they want to give police more money. So you're telling me to fear Project 2025 more than a Biden second term, even though Biden's second term is going to give police more money. Either way, the police are going to get more money. Neither party plans on defunding the police, punishing the police, taking away qualified immunity. Neither of them are planning on doing that.
Okay, now see that. All right, that's where we're gonna reach a roadblock because right now Joe Biden had it's not his legislation, but it's legislation that he was backing that was coming from Cory Booker, some of the legislators in the bigger cities on the East Coast and on the West Coast,
Sir,
where
Biden
the
says he
Democrat,
wants to refund the police, not defund.
yeah,
Refund. That's what he said, sir. I
no,
quote.
right, the whole but the difference in between Project 2025 and what Biden's structure was doing and what that legislation actually says is that in Project 2025 they are cutting or there's no such thing as any type of accountability at all. It doesn't exist. And not only that, legally they are giving them glorified immunity
Sir,
to
we're
be able
living
to
that
do
today,
whatever it
sir.
is that
We're
they
living
want.
that today, sir. What's the difference, sir? What's the difference?
What's the difference?
Yes, what's the difference? Officer
Listen,
Pantaleo is still free. Eric Garner's murderer is not going to jail. So what's the difference?
Do you know that the officer that shot and killed Tamir Rice, a 12-year-old, under the Obama administration, under his watch, under his DOJ, he just got rehired? And
What about Officer
they've been
Wilson?
working diligently to rehire him.
brother,
What
they
about Officer
all,
Wilson, who
So
killed
brother,
Mike Brown? He's
and
still out
we
too.
can go we can say names all day, but you're
exactly.
talking about they want to just make it official, but they do the same thing. It's just unofficial. It's literally a matter of paperwork. So I'm not going to sit here and bite my fingernails and stare out the window and scare and terror because of paperwork. The Democrats and the Republicans have the same exact ideology and agenda as far as handling the police. Both of them handle the police the exact same way. If we're going to be honest, if we compare apples to apples, the Democrats allow the police to get away way more often.
No, they don't. That's
Yeah,
not true.
brother, under
That's
the
Okay,
Biden,
completely not
okay,
under the
true.
okay,
hold on, brother, under
okay.
the
That's completely not true.
not the Trump, under the Obama administration, there were more police killings of black people than under the Trump administration.
You're absolutely
Under Obama's watch than under Trump's watch. Even today, under Biden's watch, the black people who have been killed by the police, nothing has happened to it. Neither party plans on doing anything as far as the police. Neither party is talking about getting rid of qualified immunity. Neither party is talking about defunding the police. Both parties are talking about giving police more money.
okay.
Biden, out of his own mouth, I'm not talking about legislation, anything that can be taken out of context. Out of his own mouth, he said, I don't want to defund the police. I want to refund the police. He said that out of his own mouth.
Okay. And what did he mean by refund the police?
Oh, brother, come on.
Listen, I'm not a
All
Biden
right,
supporter,
all right,
and
all
that's
right, all
not what
right,
this is
brother,
about because
brother, brother,
I
brother.
don't want to stray from what the point is, and the point is calling Project 2025
I'm
exactly
gonna
what it
take it. I'm
is.
gonna take it as if you're genuine, brother. What you're saying. So what I'm gonna say is that you're saying that these northern cities. Well, I live in New York. Okay, it doesn't get much more northern than that. Okay, There's footage of me during the George Floyd riots beating on police cars because police cars were trying to run me and other protesters over. There's footage of that, sir. You can find me beating on a police car because the niggas try to run us over. Now, I live in New York, which is a Democrat plus city, okay? And there were no police accountability for that at all, sir. So when you tell me about some boogeyman about, oh, the Republicans are the boogeyman, what the fuck are the Democrats if the Republicans are the boogeyman, sir?
The Democrats are nothing more than a boogeyman dressed up like the fucking Tooth Fairy. That's the only thing that the Democrats are. I'm not pro-Democrat. I'm not telling you that one racist is better than the other fucking racist. They all the same. That's not what we're talking about. But at the same time, I don't want people misinformed. Now, if your point is you don't have to vote for anybody, we don't have an issue with that because I set out the last Biden Trump election and I didn't vote for neither one of them because I don't see what the project is. But what I do see here with Project 2025 and what they're doing, stripping a lot of the things that we've been able to implement over the years to get rid of little things like free lunch programs, education programs, books programs, things like that. In New York City, they were one of the biggest beneficiaries of the education programs that have been passed since 1988 and those elections forward. New York City's been one of the biggest benefactors of that, being able to receive federal funding and things like that in reference to that. And the same way you was out there for George Floyd, I was upstate in New York for. I'm not saying that they're anything other than what they are. They are racist. But at the same time, don't call a project something that it's not. It's going to be a brand new way of living that people have never been accustomed to before.
Okay, but sir, there's no proof that Trump is going to implement Project 25.
It most certainly is. He had the man on his team. He had the man
We
on
Okay.
his
have
team. The,
no,
the,
no.
the,
Okay,
the, the,
sir,
the
sir,
founder of the
sir,
project has been
sir.
on his team.
Trump has
Say
had
you're gonna have
Steve
to get this.
Bannon.
I'm making a tweet right now.
Okay, Trump has had Steve Bannon on his team. Steve Bannon is a card carrying white supremacist neo-Nazi, sir, and He did not make lynching legal, sir. So come on, man. Look, this is fear tactics again. If you look, brother, and I'm not saying this to you, if people out there are afraid of Project 25, then they've already lost the battle. Because, like I said, brother, we've been living in Project 2025, sir. You can literally, and you're
Listen,
upstate in Buffalo, New York, correct? You say, oh, I don't know if you're in Buffalo, but you're upstate New York, correct? Where at upstate?
you
Where
cut
at?
out on me.
Okay, is that near Buffalo or Rochester? Or?
Rochester.
Okay, perfect. All right, so you're up there. Okay, shout out to you. So you know as well as I do about that whole situation that went down in Buffalo. Now, my question is, why was there, and Biden was in charge then, why wasn't there any anti-black hate crime laws going on then? Why didn't they get that popping? The dude literally said, "Buck broking, fuck niggas. Here's your reparations." Excuse my language. He literally said all of that, and we still receive no laws to protect us. So, Project 2025 is exactly like when Ice Cube had the platinum, excuse me, not the platinum plan, plan for Black America. That's all it is. It's a proposal. That's all it is. It's nothing else. Let's not make it what it's not.
Okay. What I do know is this: the Supreme Court didn't pass that president is now king the first term that Trump was in office. And not that I think that Biden was ever what you're talking about. We didn't control both levels of Congress, so they weren't going to pass, but have been put in, and they weren't filibustered. And that's just a fact. But
Well, from
overall,
2020
no
to
matter what,
22, sir.
If Trump wins, if Trump wins, he now has king rights. So he can pass whatever the fuck he wants, however he wants. And it's whatever that meets his agenda.
No,
And going back
Doesn't
to
that mean,
Jim Crow
doesn't that,
meets
well,
his
I think
agenda
we
a hell of a
agree then,
lot
brother.
better than
We
anything
agree.
else.
Doesn't that mean that the Democrats should hurry up and give us what we want? We agree, right? So they should hurry up and jump to giving us what we want then. If it's so
Oh, but
dire,
remember how I listen. Remember how I started, and how I started was I said I just wanted you to call Project 2025 for what it is, but I never disagreed with your stance. If it was up to me, I say all of us just need to start buying guns and be prepared that way, and that's the way we take our shit back. I'm not really. I don't trust either one of them. They're never going to give us what we want. We are the ultimate losers of every single election every time it comes. So there's we agree completely that neither side is for us. Neither one is
Okay,
for us.
brother, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this one time because I know you mean this out of love. Um, I don't agree or disagree with what you just said, but what I would say is you should never say that on a public platform like this. And that's all I'm gonna say right there.
Understood.
Yes, sir.
Understood. Girl, you can go to the next speaker, brother. I want to listen more.
Okay. Yeah. Hold on. Who's in shit? Hold on, shit. Let me get back to this. We'll get to Eric. You got it. You go ahead.
I'm gonna make this my last time coming up here because I do want to hear what brother Marcel has to say. When you was going back and forth with that, Mark Carter creature, he was getting out of line, and it is always something with these old niggas when they ain't putting nothing in the game. Now he's saying that he don't give a fuck about Trump, but if you look on his profile picture, he's got hashtag turn Chicago red. So if you don't give a hell about Donald Trump, then why are you trying to associate yourself with the Republican Party? And for a Negro who don't believe in white supremacy, see, I look at black people like that as unstable creatures. Because if you don't understand what the system of white supremacy is, and you saying that you haven't never been brought down by white supremacists and racists within the United States of America, let alone the whole entire world, then I really question you and people like you, not only in the city of Chicago, but throughout the whole entire United States of America. I question you to even be out here on a platform talking about what we need to do and what we don't need to do. See, you had your time. You had your time when you was young and you failed. You didn't do nothing with it. Now that you're an older person, you think that you live long, that you can tell the younger generation what to do. No, we got to learn from your mistakes of what you did or what you didn't do when you was out here messing up, getting arrested for being intoxicated, doing strange things for pieces of change in prison, allegedly. We got to get away from old niggas like this because they don't mean us no well. They'll always come up on these platforms where people are way much more qualified than them, or not even, I wouldn't say smarter than him or smarter than any other people that actually doing something with themselves, but it's always these old niggas that's coming out of the woodwork telling us what to do and what we don't need to do. So the moral of the story is, I listen to people who actually got something in the game, who actually can teach the younger generation something. Teach something different than what you was doing when you was young. See, if you ain't learning from what you did as a mistake in the past, you will always fail in the future. So I'm just going to land my plane there, sir.
Exactly. Notice that's the first thing he came up in here. Y'all young people don't matter. Well, if young people don't matter, why are you on this space? If what we say has no consequence anyway, if this space, this platform has no consequence anyway, young folk, 18 to 30, we don't matter anyway. Why are you here? Who are you trying to convince? Why are you even talking to us then? If we not gonna do nothing anyway, because it seems like you wasting your time if we not gonna do anything. If we're the block that makes no difference, no consequence. They always try to say that when they're mad. When they're mad that we're not going in the direction they want us to go, then all of a sudden is y'all don't even really matter no way. That's what Roland Martin was saying last time. Lord, the young folk, y'all don't really matter no way. They always say that, and then when I say, "Oh, actually, no, we do matter. Actually, we are making a difference." Y'all, maybe when y'all was young, y'all was wasting y'all times, which is why in life now y'all don't really have no respect to show for anything. Which is why people don't listen to you now. Which is why you bark about, "Oh, y'all young and y'all don't do anything and y'all don't do anything." Okay, well, all right then. We gonna see. We gonna see. We gonna see if we don't do anything. Trying to come up here and get upset about respect that you're not receiving. You're not receiving that.
Just a little inside joke. If I'm Trump on my next rally, I'm walking out to Many Men by 50 Cent. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm walking out to Many Men. That's me.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it. Let me say this. Let me say this. Secret Service. Every former president has Secret Service. The way Secret Service works is they clear an area well before the president even gets there. I'm not talking about hours. I'm talking about days, sometimes even weeks before the president gets there. The only way that a president, like for instance, JFK, if the only way that can happen is if that's an inside job. Besides that, Secret Service, which all presidents, even former presidents, have, Donald Trump still has Secret Service to protect him. So that means weeks before he went to that rally, they already circled the area. They cleared everything. They made sure there was no place where snipers could be around or anything like that. So you mean to tell me, in the middle of his thing, he gets shot almost by his head. Not enough to do any significant harm to him. Most snipers, most trained snipers don't actually aim for the head, actually. Most snipers aim for the chest. If you guys didn't know, in the military, anybody who served in the military or knows anything about the military will tell you that. When people snipe, people aim for the chest and the heart area. They don't aim for the head. All right? So the sniper, because it's not like somebody ran up to him with a gun. The sniper sniped at his head and was so close, they clipped his little ear a little bit. They clipped his ear and he immediately dropped to the ground. The Secret Service gathered around him and they picked him up, exposing him again. Just keep this in mind. They lifted him up, exposing him and his whole face again. And everybody, they're not moving. They just stand him up and he's standing still and they're not moving and he gives fist bumps to the audience and the audience goes crazy and then he leaves.
Low
Come on,
key,
y'all. Come on,
this is
y'all.
very, 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 very bad for the Democrats, though. If this is real, which I don't know if it is, if this is real, this is worse than the damn debates, Democrats. So if y'all sent y'all little, you know, whatever person out there to do this, and if this is a real thing, this looks even worse than when Joe Biden was, on that debate stage, honestly. Trump literally just won this election because his people are going to galvanize behind this. So y'all even more stupid than I truly thought y'all was. I'm going to be honest. Just for morale's sake, they're going to galvanize behind him. But you'll see. Maybe I'm wrong.
Mm. I mean, Donald Trump sure does. I mean, after being shot, I'm very surprised with how well he posed for the camera.
This
This
nigga,
man is
son,
straight
he
up
acting like he
posing for the
Tupac
camera.
now, bro. Imagine his next speech. He gon'
Oh
he gonna think
Lord.
he too. Oh man. Okay.
Oh Lord. They tried to shoot Donald Trump. Oh wow. Okay. Well, that's something else. Well, well, all I can say is, I mean, I was looking at the crowd, all that white on white crime. They Trump got to do something about all that white on white violence, all that damn urban violence that they got going on. That
Wait,
the
do
violence
you
in the
blame
white
the culture?
community.
I think it's their culture.
I think so. I
I
think
think it's
so.
the James Aldean songs that actually inspired that.
Probably,
I think it's the culture.
Sage. I think it's the fact that they don't have fathers in the home. They have a lot of fatherless homes ran by single mothers. I think that's the problem. That's what leads to this level of violence and degeneracy. We're gonna be wrapping this up. I'm gonna let a couple people get their word out. Who did you boycott? I'm gonna let you speak, and then we gonna kind of wrap things up there. Been on for a good minute.
Okay, thank you, Alpha, and all the other good folks. I'm on board with it's just complete madness. It look like we are headed for a fast funeral and a slow funeral. And for those for each his own, better sit down real quick and figure out which one they want to side with. They can take a fast At the next light, with the Republicans, right, or they can take a slow one with the Democrats. But I've made my decision. commit suicide. So I can own up to it. I wasn't an educated voter when I registered to vote at 18. I campaigned for Obama and John Kerry, and they should have never let me get an inside look. Because once I got that inside look, I really realized, and I got a chance to go back to the very place that I was born at, 631 Kayfield Court, and knock on the door and ask someone to register to vote. And I realized that I lied to myself and I lied to that person that came to that door. And I keep having flashbacks of it. Every day of my life, I have a flashback. And I ain't gonna have to have no conversation with no one because I have to live with my conscience. I don't have to live with any of these persons who are campaigning for these demons, subpar human beings. They are demons and subpar human beings, and our ancestors are turning over in their grave. They are literally turning over in their grave. And so, if you can live with that, and your children and grandkids and great grandkids can live with that, then more power to you. Keep it moving. But that's just all I had to say. I do think Project 2025, if it's a real thing, it's different. It's different than any of us have lived through. They own 25 states. They only 25 states away if it's going to be a real thing. They own and control 25 states. So we only got 25 left. And then a month ago, they rigged South Carolina. So we won't be voting anyone into office in South Carolina anytime soon because they own 6 districts. They made a backroom deal with Jim Clyburn so he can win easily. And they're going to duplicate that in all of the other 24 states by midterm. So y'all ain't got much time for y'all misery. Just enjoy y'all little party while you can, because your misery is going to be put out of misery soon. If the Republicans are planning on turning back the clock to 1776 and they own 25 states, I don't know. I'm like Alpha and some of the others. It could be a fear tactic. It could not. But let's just say, for argument's sake. For argument's sake, all y'all brain dead folks with a loud voice and a big platform, you should have been telling our people to vote independence to buy us some time. But no, instead y'all asking them to pick the lesser of two evils. So you're gonna have it on your conscience. You're gonna live with that on your conscience until you die, because you should have been telling our people to vote independent. To buy us some time, but y'all didn't care about that because your own selfish agendas. So you're gonna live with it. You should have been telling them to do their research, and if they didn't find a candidate they wanted to vote for after they figured out their track record, then they should have sit on their couch. But you didn't have the backbone to tell them that. And since you don't have the backbone to stand on anything, like Alpha said, you're gonna go down in flames. It's not complicated. Why we need to talk about it? It's very simple math. You've been promised stuff for 60 and 70 years, and you got nothing but
Yes,
crumbs.
sir. All right, brother.
And you
But
think
I appreciate you.
on the 5th of November,
I appreciate you,
that's a
brother. All
pipe
right.
dream. That's a real pipe dream. If you're ever gonna live through one, that's a pipe dream. You ain't got. We all have
Okay,
got no.
brother. Thank you so very much. I appreciate you. But I'm about to go live on YouTube. You guys click this link right here. And I've been pushing this off for well over an hour. I'll start this space at 3:00 my time. We've been on here chopping up good game for a minute. I might need to make a part 2 to this, because we've been talking about Joe Biden, Project 2025, y'all being scared. Now y'all talk. I'm going to be honest. There's something very fishy to me. I'm not going to say for a fact, but off top, there's just something very suspicious about this with Trump and him getting shot or whatever the case is. But if they needed one more thing to galvanize his base, his PR, Trump better give his PR millions of dollars. Trump's PR, his plan, I mean, I'm telling, shit, damn, some great publicity right there. He gonna go on stage talking about, I got shot fighting for America. He gonna make it seem like he got shot in the stomach. Like Sage said, he gonna make it seem like he was 50 Cent. He was shot, bleeding out, barely made it. He was going, got shot fighting for you guys. Lord, okay. All right. I want to know the name of the person who shot him too. They say they caught the guy. That when they catch black people, you get their name like within an hour. So I definitely want to know the name of the person they allege shot at the former president of the United States. We should be getting that information very soon, don't you think? So, yeah. But with that being said, I'm gonna let Sage. You got anything else you want to say, brother? Oh, let me unmute it. Okay, yeah. Sage.
Right there, brother. No, like I said, man, I agree. I think that if I'm Trump, um, this is great publicity. This is great promotion for him, and I think this is going to galvanize his base even more. It is what it is. Like I said, the Democrats need to pull out something out their bag, and they need to pull out them reparations. And with that, I'm gonna land.
Thank you. Couldn't said it better myself. Appreciate you. This was a very productive space. If you guys want to listen to the playback, it will be on the For the Culture channel on YouTube coming up soon. So if you guys had to step out, if you couldn't catch everything, if you guys just want to listen to this very productive and educational conversation, once again, go to the For the Culture page on YouTube, subscribe to that, and you will be able to listen to the playback on this. I'm about to go live on YouTube in literally a couple minutes. I already posted the link. You guys go to my page, go to that link, and join me live on YouTube. Appreciate you, brothers and sisters. See you guys on YouTube.